starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Can you hear now? Can you hear now? Anybody? Bueller? Yes. Nicely done, Chris. 842-537-6842 KERN. So I don't know where to start with headsets of the president. He was meeting with the leader of Lebanon today amid the 10th night of attacks, and he says that it would take around 25 years to rebuild from what we have done. How many we've got? 3 or 2? Well, let's play the first. We got 2. Let's play the first. Here is the President of the United States from this morning. First, Elton John.
Mr. President, there are no signs that Iran is ready to stop fighting. So what is the plan? Is the plan to just keep bombing until they give up?
There are no signs. What, do you know something that I don't know?
Well, they continue to attack our allies and
you don't know what the dialogue is behind the scenes, that they want to meet desperately to try and end it because they're getting decimated. You don't get that when you listen to your fake station, but you don't know. You don't know anything.
So talks are
you know
still
something
possible,
that I don't know? Do you know something I don't know?
Well, tell us.
I will tell you, they want to desperately meet, and until they're ready to meet in a meaningful way, we have no interest.
Do you see why every single day on this radio show I say play it straight? Anybody believe that? That the IRGC is desperate to make a deal. How many times have we heard this? How many times have we heard this? You just can't do this. You cannot wait. I don't know much. I really don't, particularly running a country, running the free world. But I do know a little bit about history. And I know you can't lie your way through a war. You've got to look at the American people and tell them the truth. That the IRGC is just desperate to make a deal. Is that right? That's why they're hitting our bases? That's why they just hit that air base in Jordan? That's why we've got 4 dead bodies coming home? What are you talking about? This is what I just can't comprehend. Do you know something? I don't know. Your fake news. They're desperate to make a deal. They've got a pen in hand. It's just a matter of whether I'm going to accept it or not. Oh, would you please? Here's more from the commander-in-chief.
If we left right now, it would take them a long time, years to rebuild.
Then let's go.
But we're not leaving right now. So we've had a big impact on Iran. If we didn't do what I did we got to 2 things. The Iran nuclear deal done by Barack Hussein Obama, I terminated that. If I didn't terminate it, you wouldn't have Israel right now because they would have had a nuclear weapon years ago.
Again, you've got to play it straight. He is telling the American people that had he not got rid of Barack's deal, the Iranians would have blown up Israel. I mean, are there really like 6 or 7 of you out there that actually believe that? Barack Obama is in his kitchen making waffles. It's incredible. It's not even Uncle Fluffy anymore. It's Barack Hussein Obama. And he has to say all 3 names every time he does it. Because now the JCPOA looks like a pretty good deal. There was no bigger critic of the JCPOA than Ralph Bailey. But now it's looking pretty damn good, isn't it? Final from Mr. Trump.
If I didn't do the attack on their nuclear sites, or if I didn't terminate the Obama agreement with Iran, which was an absolute hit on having them that was a road to a nuclear weapon. And our deal will be a wall. It already is. They can't have a nuclear weapon right now. It would take them years to produce it. And we will absolutely attack the new site that they're talking about. I mean, how about these people? They're in this because of nuclear weapons, and they're trying to possibly reconstitute a site. We'll hit that site. Any site where they're even thinking about nuclear, we'll be hitting it very, very powerfully. Now, nobody knows except the Iranians the damage that we've done to them. we have done damage that will take them 20, 25 years to recover from. So if we left tomorrow, we had a big success, but we're not leaving tomorrow.
Why then? Why not? What did I say yesterday? Let's just get out now. Just get out now. And if he's telling the truth, it'll take 20, 25 years. Most of us will be long dead and gone by then. And it'll be on some future president, be on J.D. Vance's kids by then. Well, not quite his kids, but maybe Trump's kids. I don't understand what he's saying. That it'll take 20 to 25 years. They don't have the uranium, but we may hit them again. I don't understand. And to say that we've devastated the ballistic missile, well, go tell that to Isabella Gomez and Lieutenant Fahey's family. Tell them that. And this other, the young brother that was killed, Sinner, I think his name was. Don't quote me on that. I didn't write it down. But he was killed in Iraq. Some shrapnel from a drone that they were trying to defuse exploded and took him out. This is the test right here when the body bags start coming home. Because as you'll hear after the break, coming up in the back half of the hour, Pete Hegseth, as I told you about yesterday, had to go before the Senate Appropriations Committee. And as I mentioned, they don't want to talk about money. He wants $87 million to round out a $1.5 trillion budget. That's what we're spending on this thing, $1.5 trillion. And they need another 87, just a cool 87 billion more. I don't understand. That's all. I just don't understand. That's all I can say. I really don't. I don't understand what the off-ramp is. I don't even understand what victory is at this point. If we blocked them, if we bombarded them back into 25 years, then let's cut and run and let's get the hell out of here. But he knows that's not the case, and he's just not playing it straight. Back half of the hour, Howard Marcus at the top of the hour. It's TRBS. I would stick around if I you.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump has pledged significant support for Lebanon during a White House meeting with Lebanese leader Joseph Aoun. The meeting on Tuesday aimed to promote long-term peace after months of conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. After it concluded, Mr. Trump announced that he would allow the resumption of direct flights between the U.S. and Lebanon, which have been suspended since 1985. The Senate Intelligence Committee has advanced the nomination of Jay Clayton, President Donald Trump's pick, to head the nation's intelligence agencies. The vote was along party lines. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 385 points. The Nasdaq rose 329, with the S&P 500 advancing by 65. Oil near $85 a barrel. More details at srnnews.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel...
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. Luis Villachana of Oildale could spend at least 50 years in prison for the August 29th, 2024 death of Ruth Cummings. That happened on Olympic Drive in Oildale when Villachana was fighting several people over a motorcycle he believed had been stolen from him. Police say he pulled a gun and started shooting. Cummings was sitting in an SUV in the driveway and was hit by one of the bullets. Sentencing is next month. March 3rd, 2024, on Clyde Street in Bakersfield, 66-year-old Harry Eugene Clark was found dead inside his house, apparently beaten to death. Now the man accused in that crime is set to stand trial on 6 charges, including murder, August 31st. Tyrell Cooper was back in court Monday and pleaded not guilty. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we will talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. John Cox from the Californian will join us with the news quiz. We got state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
In 2026, Bay Alarm celebrates 80 years of security. With burglar and fire alarm systems, 24/7 in-house monitoring, and local service, our promise to the Central Valley remains the same. We got you. Learn more at bayalarm.com.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KER.
Relax. We're only going down. We're only I know we are. They can listen to it's a radio show. They can listen to music for a little bit. Pete Hegseth went before the Senate Appropriations Committee along with General Kane, and they were pillared with questions, obviously, mostly from the Democrats, and surprisingly from John Kennedy. Oh, not that John Kennedy. John Kennedy of Louisiana, senator who has nothing to do with the Irish Brayman family from Massachusetts and Martha's Vineyard. He is a Southern boy from, I believe, he's from Baton Rouge. He's one of the funniest senators in the Senate. And it's some pretty hard questions for Hegseth. Mostly, they want to know what I've been questioning. What is the strategy? What is the beginning? What is the middle? What is the end? Was this about regime change? Was this about nuclear weapons, the uranium, physically removing it from Iran? Was this about now? Most people agree that this is about the Strait of Hormuz. Here is our Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
This battlefield and all the dynamics of it, of which the chairman and I are responsible for ensuring the president understands every branch and sequel of what could happen. And we did.
Let's start this again. Let's start this again. I should have prefaced this. The question was, how did you go into this? A question you've heard me pose. How did you go into this not realizing or at least implementing an immediate response to the close of the Strait of Hormuz? I mean, an 11th grader could have figured that was going to be the very first piece of leverage the Iranians were going to use. And a Democratic senator asked that of Hegseth. Here's his answer.
This battlefield and all the dynamics of it, of which the chairman and I are responsible for ensuring the president understands every branch and sequel of what could happen, and we did. So the fact that those contingencies all were part of the possibility, and we understood that, is all the more reason why President Trump deserves the kind of praise he should get for undertaking this effort, having the courage to ensure that crazy Islamists can't have a nuclear weapon to hold us at issue. And he's been willing to stay committed to that regardless of the challenges.
Excuse me. So he should be praised. He should be praised for starting a war without authority, creating a situation in which the world economy is suffering tremendously. We have to have extra money for our farmers, and we have no outcome, at least no realistic outcome in sight yet.
Have you ever thought about, no matter, like, again, I was a supporter of doing something, not in the manner in which they're doing it. But can you imagine what the presidency would be like sans the aggressive nature of ICE, and had they simply gotten rid of the bad guys? And even if you believed in removing every illegal immigrant, no matter how long they've been here, what if they had just put that on the back burner? You know what I'm saying? What if they had waited until after the midterms to do that? And up to this point, had simply gone after the bad guys, the gangbangers, the violent offenders, even those that just made simple crimes, excuse me. If you committed a crime, you snuck in here, you got away with it, you're receiving the love and joy of the American dream, and you still cross the line, no matter what the line is, you got to go. If he had just started with that, and again, like I say, even if you're for getting rid of every single person who snuck in here, no matter if they've got a family, and no matter if they've been away from the country of origin for decades, and you're essentially sending them back, separating a family, even if you believe that, just imagine for just 10 seconds what his numbers would be like had he waited until January to do that, along with the just aggressive nature of the approach of ICE, sans the tariffs. What if there are no tariffs? What if we weren't in the process of trying to put 50% tariffs on that arch enemy of ours, Canada? Canada. Just imagine for a second. And what if we hadn't got involved in this war? I suggest his numbers would be in the 50s. There'd be a very possible, because history is not on the side of an incoming president to ever win the midterms. As we talked about, the only one that did it was George Bush, and that was post 9/11 in the most recent history. But there would have been a chance, and the Senate would have been solid, would have been dead solid. But no, all these things that I don't know about y'all, but all these things that I didn't buy in for when I voted for Donald Trump. I didn't buy for lack of support for Ukraine. I didn't buy in for a war in Iran. Not conducted like this, not with no plan, not with no manner in which to respond when the Iranians shut down the Strait of Hormuz and gasoline prices start jumping again. And isn't that great? Gas prices are jumping again months before the midterms. Isn't that just wonderful? Meantime, and I should have recognized this, General Kane is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. They asked him the question that I posed yesterday, that this thing is getting to the point where the next step has to be boots on the ground. That's the natural next step to this thing, because I don't know if we can win by air bombardment, but none of the Joint Chiefs do. None of the post-Joint Chiefs do. None of the post-military, retired military men think so. Why? Well, simply because it's really never been done in history. Never really been done. Not even the Blitzkrieg surrendered Winston Churchill and people of Great Britain. Can't be done. You got to put boots on the ground if you're going to occupy someplace. But this was nevertheless asked to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Kane.
So I think academically, as you look across the totality of history, air power's got limits, and we always have to be mindful of those. I think where America's area of exclusivity is when we bring the totality of the diplomatic, informational, economic, and pair that with the military, and there's a lot of that work going on.
History tells us air power has limits. That's a direct quote, not from Ralph Bailey, but from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. So what are we left with? If the chairman of the Joint Chiefs just told you that air bombardment has its limits, that it can only go so far, then what do you think is next? You tell me. What's next? It's boots on the ground, folks. And I wouldn't even spit this out. I wouldn't even suggest this had we not learned that before the so-called 60-day ceasefire and that worthless MOU, we learned through reporting that a plan to put boots on the ground was ready to go and was very close to being implemented. They were going to take Carg Island. This is going to happen. We are either going to leave or we're going to put boots on the ground. One of the two are going to happen. They need $87 million more dollars. And as one of the senators pointed out, I think it was John Kennedy, as a matter of fact, a Republican, that doesn't even, in the request, that doesn't even factor in the amount of money that we're going to have to pay to repair the air bases that the decimated Iranians are decimating. We've got to go back and fix that air base in Jordan that killed those two soldiers and injured hundreds now, we're finding out, because now because of the New York Times reporting. They've got to start reporting casualty numbers, and the casualties are in the hundreds. But they're claiming that 90% of those that were injured are already back on duty. That's a pretty big number, though, that 10% that's so laid up that they're still in the hospital. Just saying. This is when it gets real. It's kind of been a almost a video war for the many weeks that we've been going at this, because it's been going from 30,000 feet in the air. But now, you just heard the chairman say, what we're doing has its limitations. We can only do so much from what we're trying to do. And if we're going to truly, truly, honestly, sincerely leave the Iranians without uranium, we got to go get it. If not, then why don't we just leave now? If it's so buried and they're 25 years from recovery, then get the Sam Hill out. We're at 17 right now. This presidency can't get to 27. We're at 17 fatalities. They get to 27, 30, forget about it. Forget about it. And I know it sounds black-hearted to think of this politically, but that's part of the game. That's part of the issue. Politics played a gargantuan role in Vietnam. And thank God it did, because politically it was brought to an end. We could have beaten the Vietnamese. We would have had to have stayed there another 5, 7, 10 years. We could have beaten the Vietnamese. You really think this country was going to sit still for another 5, 7, 10 years of Vietnam, going to the 1980s? Fighting in Southeast Asia? Hell to the nah, we were not. And in the 2020s, America is not going to put up with 50, 75, 100 body bags coming back from Tehran. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Massive casualties start coming back, they'll start talking about impeachment. I just don't think America has the stomach for it right now, and thank you, Jesus, we don't. Because they might have done this already. Because it was on the board, it was ready to go, and the president was close to pulling the trigger on putting boots on Carg Island. And now they're saying the target is, and by the way, that airman that I was talking about, that sergeant, the brother that got killed, the 30-year-old, his name was Michael Emmanuel Swinton. He was killed during the disposal of a drone in northern Iraq. But what was I looking for? They're looking for 87 billion more. And again, that does not include the recovering of these bases and what we're going to have to go through as this thing escalates. There are two avenues. You either destroy these people or you run back to the United States. It's one of the two. It's one of the two. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we come back. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. Mr. Marcus, Howard Marcus, joins us at the top of the hour. We'll get into the four. Shannon Grove has spoken out about the fact that Zach Scrivener is close to absolutely walking away from that infamous incident in his then Tehachapi home. I will read you what she has posted on that score. Sunny Hostin shows her true colors. He's a Harvard graduate that teaches fourth grade geometry to young kids. I don't care. He's getting a citation. Her son got caught trespassing, and mommy had to come bail out her 25-year-old. I just think about where I was at 25. I wish I would call my parents. I wish I would. Hello, Dad? Yeah. It's Lil Ralph. Yeah, what's up? I'm in jail. Hello? Hello? That's your one call, son. Yeah, I know. Quick time out. We're coming right back. It's TRBS. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
One could possibly pull off this whole weekend at Bernie's thing that they're doing. Well, there are people now on the internet that are saying, well, that picture was obviously AI generated and maybe he's been dead since June or whatever the thing is. Because they did say he was admitted to the hospital after a fall, but they've already got the 911 call and they said it was a cardiac arrest situation. I don't know.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
Nathan has taught me to embrace the moment. Age-wise, I'm in my late 60s. I'm old enough to be his grandfather. Will he be embarrassed to acknowledge me as his dad? I think the most important thing we can do is let them know that they're safe, that they're valued and cared for and loved, and that they're important.
I knew I wanted to be adopted by him because of how he taught me to be the person who I am today. And it's coming from a dad that didn't expect to become a dad. And I feel very proud to be his son.
That was what he needed, and he was what I needed. Every day is full of new opportunities. That's what it's been about, realizing the simple things that it takes to make such a huge difference in these kids' lives.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care at adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
On BritBox, there is a place where stories twist like cobblestone roads, grand manners hide secrets, and stakes are higher than seaside cliffs. Find places worth getting lost in on BritBox. Watch a new series like The Other Bennett Sister from the world of Jane Austen and A Woman of Substance starring Golden Globe winner Brenda Blethyn. If you want to get away, you're in the right place. Stream the best of British TV on BritBox. Free trial at BritBox.com.
Most of us are one good deal away from finally replacing that worn-out rug, fixing up the backyard, or getting the bedroom we actually want. Good news, that deal's almost here. Wayfair's Black Friday and July sale. Get up to 80% off area rugs and up to 60% off outdoor and bedroom furniture. Shop Wayfair's huge selection of styles and find the piece to fit your style, budget, and space. Plus, free shipping. Black Friday in July ends July 27th. Shop today at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Don't act like that. Don't wear that. Don't think that. I've heard everything you tell yourself every time you felt different. And I want you to know that you can be vulnerable and powerful. That taking care of your mind is taking care of everyone you love and who loves you. Love your mind. Find mental health resources at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Competent fool, turn the sound on. I'm kidding. Thanks for fixing that. Thanks for seeing the logical side of this conflict. We need to just get out. Well, I don't know if that's, I'm basing this on what the president's saying. And the president said, we can play this audio again in the 5, that it would take them 25 years to get back up on their feet, that the uranium is so buried that only China and us can get it. If he's telling the truth, then why are we there? Let's get the Sam Hill out. Now, I don't think that's the truth, and I think that I'm not optimistic about the next phase. Let's just put it like that. Thanks for that. I'm pretty sure, God dang it. Stand by, please. I'm pretty sure through classified information, the administration has more information than you Cutting and running is not an option. Finishing is. Well, I guess you don't have kids that are going to have to go. Because I'm pretty sure you'd probably feel a little bit different if you had a grandchild in the United States Marines, or a son in the Army, or a daughter in the Air Force, et cetera, because I think that's the next phase. Finishing is, if you just heard the Joint Chiefs say, basically, we can't take them out strictly and exclusively through the air. I don't know if you heard that. His direct quote was, air power has limits. Now, I don't know how you interpret that, but I interpret that, particularly given that the question was, what's the next phase? Boots on the ground. So if you're willing to commit to that, then I suppose we should do what we got to do. But that, understand what you're saying when you say finish it. That's all I'm saying. Thank you, Mr. Bailey, for speaking up for us to make Bakersfield's, I don't know what this Sand Hill that means. And I'm pretty sure they have questions. Okay. 842-5376, 842-KER. And meantime, what do you got over there, Mr. Burdick?
Besides the other ones that say turn the sound on?
Yes.
Oh, wow, this is what actually started with Ralph. Never mind. Ralph, you misrepresented Republican John Kennedy in that audio clip you played. That was not John Kennedy asking the question. Be prepared for your broadcast. You misunderstood. He never said John Kennedy was the one questioning.
Never. We did not. I knew that wasn't John Kennedy.
He mentioned that John Kennedy did a good job with his questioning.
Yes, I did. But you would know John Kennedy. That was not John Kennedy. That was a Democrat. I think that was
Reed.
Was it Reed or Durbin?
I believe so.
Reed or Durbin, one of the two. But no, you would know. You know if it was John Kennedy. There'd be no question of whether it was John Kennedy from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So no, I was not. You misinterpreted what I said. I must have put two sentences together and said that he had asked some great questions, and so did John Kennedy, who asked some great questions. But no, I knew it was a Democrat that asked him that question. What else you got?
I love how he started with Ralph, you moron, and then just ate his own words. That was weird.
And just didn't have no idea.
No clue.
Because it's grown ass adults who have to call another grown ass adult a name when they get all eager when they think I make a mistake. Like the people that listen but hate me. Like when I make a mistake, they get all excited.
Can't wait.
And they run down to their mother's basement, they get on their computer, and they go, you moron. That wasn't John Kennedy. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're so stupid. But I'm listening. And when that diary comes, I'm going to lie and say I listen to somebody else, but I listen to you, you moron. A very strange business we find ourselves in, Mr. Burdick. What else you got?
This one just simply says, what a Democrat would say. Not sure if they meant your comments or one that we have played, but.
Well, it doesn't matter. What would a Republican say? That everything's going great? That it's wonderful that there are 4 bodies coming home to Dover? That there's a clear off-ramp? That there's no possible way that the next phase of this is ground troops because the air bombardment is working so incredibly well and the Strait of Hormuz is international waters and hundreds of vessels are coming and flowing through there and oil and gas is going down and inflation isn't going up because of the tariffs now on our friends up in Canada? Is that what a Republican would say? You're right. It would be the president who would say that, and he would be lying on all fronts. So you can call me whatever you want. I'm just dealing with facts. And I pray I'm wrong. I hope we bombard them into hell. And the IRGC stands up with a gigantic white flag and just says, you know what, Donald, we give up. That's the scenario that's realistic, right? That these devotees, these religious fanatics, are just going to someday just say, we give. And a massive cry out of Tehran, we're going to hear, Uncle! And Trump will come in as the conquering warrior. Is that the scenario that you see? Is that the scenario that I'm supposed to tell my listeners? Don't worry, everything's going to turn out just fine. Because it looks great, doesn't it? I just can't lie like that. I just can't. I won't. I'll get fired. I'll be suspended. I'll have my career ended, but I'm not going to sit in front of this thing and tell you lies. You know, I was thinking about this. I was telling this to somebody in my family last night. I said, I can't win. You know, black folks think I'm an Uncle Tom, and white folks think I'm a Democrat. And I said that the crazy thing about white folks is they think I've created this character, right? This character who's pretending to be a Republican, right? I'm so shifty and so slick that I've created a 22-year career based on this false character who's really not a Republican, but skulks around secretly as a Democrat. And yet, I'm so stupid that I'm one of Donald Trump's biggest critics. Like, I would think if I was going to create this false Republican who's Ralph Bailey, wouldn't I preach to the choir? Wouldn't I tell you everything that you want to hear? If I'm going to lie, which you're claiming that I am, then why would I half lie? Why would I say, I voted for Trump, but I'm being very critical of him? Like, if I were going to create this Republican character, greatest president who ever lived, the Iranian situation is going well. Anybody who criticizes it has got Trump derangement. This thing has been planned out perfectly. Pete Hegseth is the perfect guy to lead us. He's experienced. He's sober. He's just brilliant. He's just brilliant. He's just brilliant. Everybody in this, I don't know why they got rid of Pam Bondi. The whole cabinet is brilliant. Just nothing but brilliant, brilliant. Kash Patel, love him. Love him. Isn't that what a phony would do? But I guess I'm a phony and stupid at the same time. That I've created a false Republican character that can still piss off half my audience. What a dummy I must be. Well, we go from one dummy to one pretty intelligent cat. Headed up the hill to talk with our good friend Howard Marcus. I'll tell you what Shannon Grove has to say about Zach Scrivener coming this close to merely walking away from an infamous night where he should have been jailed and sent to prison. And then coming up in the 5, you hear Sunny Hostin tell about how her son is a Harvard graduate and teaches geometry to 4th graders. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Trump administration is asking Congress to fund the expanding conflict with Iran. At the Senate Appropriations Committee hearing, Republican Chairwoman Susan Collins says much of the $93 billion budget request predates the war with Iran.
Some of the requirements, such as the shortfalls in munitions, have been well known to this committee for some time. And prior to the conflict with Iran, there has been bipartisan support to address these shortfalls. While these munition shortfalls have been years in the making, they are growing increasingly urgent.
War Secretary Pete Hegseth said the U.S. war against Iran has cost $37.5 billion so far. House Republicans are sounding the alarm over Democrat socialists. House Speaker Mike Johnson says he remains optimistic that the majority of Americans will ultimately reject socialists on the November ballot.
Not on our watch. We're not going to do that. And I am very confident. In fact, I'm very enthusiastic about the upcoming midterm election because I believe that people are beginning to see this. And it is going to motivate voter turnout for true Americans who love their country and want to keep it.
Arizona Republicans are choosing nominees to challenge Democrats in key state offices. Candidates include Congressman Andy Biggs and David Schweikert, who are vying to take on Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs. Biggs is endorsed by Donald Trump and aims to unite the party. Schweikert believes his pro-business approach can win back voters. Both parties have contested primaries for Schweikert's current House district, a battleground for congressional control. On Wall Street, the Dow by 385 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
There's going to be a new round of layoffs at ESPN.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
He is now considered competent, and that means he will have to face a judge and jury. I'm Chris Davis. March 3rd, 2024, on Clyde Street in Bakersfield, 66-year-old Harry Eugene Clark Jr. was found dead inside his house, apparently beaten to death. Now the man accused in that crime is set to stand trial on 6 charges, including murder, August 31st. Tyrell Cooper had been considered incompetent, but did some time in a state mental facility and is now once again considered well enough to stand trial. Cooper was back in court Monday and pleaded not guilty. And another person who will also stand trial on a murder charge in Kern County is Michael Mendez of Delano, who is charged with killing 34-year-old Xavier Campo Lopez, whose body was found on East Perkins Avenue in McFarland back on August 24th, 2024. Police say Lopez had been shot several times, and they suspected Mendez, finally arresting him October 1st of 24. He is also facing charges of possession of guns and ammo by a convicted felon. And now convicted of murder and awaiting a possible sentence of 50 years to life when he is sentenced next month is Luis Villachana, who was found guilty of murder in the death of Ruth Cummings. She was killed as she sat in an SUV in a driveway on Olympic Drive in Oildale, August 29th, 2024, as she watched Villachana fighting several people over a motorcycle that he believed had been stolen from him. He pulled a gun and started shootings, and Cummings was the victim. The scouts in the California City area would like to know who or what is responsible for the destruction of Bob Parker's Scout Lodge. The scouts had put a lot of work into the place in recent years, trying to make improvements, but last week the place burned to the ground. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
To the rest well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 21st day of July. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1, AM 1230. Streaming live at kernradio.com. We still got lots to do. We'll tell you what Shannon Grove had to say about Zach Scrivener's mental diversion. The fact that Zach is just very, very close to absolutely walking away as if that infamous night in Tehachapi never happened. Never happened. Sunny Austin wished her son could read, and his citation for trespassing could have never happened. She talked to the police and then actually went to the crime scene to represent her 25-year-old child. And I do underscore the word child. You'll hear Miss Austin break down. I'm a federal prosecutor. My son is a Harvard graduate who teaches fourth grade geometry. Just incredible. But it's time to head up the hill, talk with our man, Howard Marcus. Howard Marcus! What's really going on, Howard?
I was just thinking, the more we move forward, the more I wish I could go back.
The old engine.
Well, I'll tell you, this is I was just thinking of an overview rather than the politics of the day, which are constantly chaotic. This has been the worst decade since COVID in 2019 through now. This has been the worst decade, literally, in my life as far as constant chaos. It makes the 60s look like a cakewalk. Things that we never consider polite behavior.
Yeah.
You would think that political figures would call the assassination of a figure like Charlie Kirk, for example, in the media would celebrate that and not be immediately chastened by everybody around them. And think about that. If Martin Luther King, when he was assassinated, if anybody on the right side of the aisle, any newsworthy person, I don't mean a lunatic like a Ku Klux Klansman,
right,
had called that a success, they would have been drummed out.
Yeah.
Instantly silenced. And the vitriol and the hatred and the divisions in our country now are the worst they've ever been. Whether it's over the war, whether it's over woke policies, whether it's over any number one of issues, we are so divided now, and things are so chaotic. We lurch from one disaster to the next. It's very depressing.
In the 5, I've got some random audio I'm going to play.
Yeah.
And I've got some audio of a woman complaining that a black woman is playing Helen of Troy.
Oh, well,
Swear to
they
God.
could have watched the Odysseus one. Who was the beauty queen? If you watch the one with Armando Asante, Cersei's was played by, she's gorgeous. She was in Desperate Housewives, and my mind is blank because I'm old. She won Miss America, Scandal.
Oh, Vanessa Williams.
Yeah, she played Cersei's in the Odysseus from 30 years ago.
Really? I've never seen that one.
It was a miniseries with Armando
Asante
plays Odysseus.
Really?
And it's actually truer to the real mythology than Nolan's picture.
Yeah.
It's really, but I had a real problem. I can never sit still long enough all the way through miniseries. That's one of the ones I tried to watch.
Right.
And, I have a problem when political correctness gets in. When you cast somebody because of their color, not in spite of it, I have an issue. I don't know if I haven't seen this movie, so I really can't comment. But some of the stuff I saw was like, geez Louise, guys, CGI and woke stuff shoved into movies nowadays. I hope it's a great movie.
No, that's the thing that's so special about this Odyssey. There is no CGI.
Yeah, I hope it's a good movie then. I hope so. We after all these horrible ones that have been flopping like Supergirl and every one of these horrible superhero movies lately, there's time for people to go back to the theaters. I haven't been to a movie in the theater in years.
Last movie I saw in the theater was Oppenheimer.
Oh, it's been a couple years for you.
Another Chris Nolan picture.
Yeah, that's a great film. I saw that.
Great film.
The one I was actually going to go to the movie theater, of all things, I wanted to see the Minions monster movie. They said it was the best movie with the Minions. I have a soft spot for the guys. Yeah,
Burdick is cracking up about it. Chris is laughing his head off about that.
Oh, I want to see that movie so bad. Isn't that silly?
Why? Can I ask why?
I ever since I saw the Minions, I just think they're hilarious.
Everybody loves these things, man.
Oh yeah, I go around yelling that.
That's funny.
It's because it's completely harmless, completely apolitical, and silly as hell.
Are you going to see the Odyssey?
No, again, I don't go to the movies much. I have to go into Bakersfield, fight through the heat, sit in the theater, and God knows what they charge now. No, it'll come to streaming. And I think that's what 90% of people do now. They go see streaming services. I saw how big this movie was. It made 126 million. That's nothing in adjusted for inflation. It's not like a blockbuster like, any of the other movies like say Saving Private Ryan or Star Wars or anything. But the movie numbers are so far down overall. That's considered a big win.
Well, yeah, this isn't for everybody. This isn't.
It's an adult film.
Yeah, kids, 13, 14-year-olds.
Right. No, I don't go to the movies much. We just don't go. I mean, it's just, they've made it so much easier. Look, you know this. It's so much easier to watch a movie from your house now. They've made it very easy to do so. It costs less. If you want to pause the film, if you want to have a adult beverage.
Yeah.
I'm not downing the movie industry. I'm just saying consumers have picked the choice, and it's not going to the movie theater anymore.
Yeah, there's still something fun about going to the theater. I saw Oppenheimer at the Studio Grill.
That's actually a pretty good venue. People have gone there. I have friends who've gone there.
Had a decent burger, some decent onion rings, and a couple of cocktails.
I remember I had a store in Westwood from 79 to 83 in Westwood on LeConte Avenue, right around the corner from the Premier Capital movie on the West Coast. So we all stood in line. It was an experience then to go see the opening day of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Jaws and all that. You know, Westwood, California was the premier capital, and I was there during all that.
Oh, dude, that Westwood was my home. You know, Brentwood's right up the street.
Right up the street.
And I lived, you know, off of Slauson. It was about 15 minutes down the 405. And Westwood was our hangout. That's where we went and saw all the movies. I saw Godfather 3, the premiere.
Oh, yeah. The Man Theater and the Westwood and the Crest and all that.
I saw it at the Bruin.
Theaters.
I saw it at the Bruin.
Bruin, yeah.
Yeah. I loved
remember
Westwood.
sitting in line with my buddies. You sat there when you know, Star Wars when it came out, and this is off subject, but I walked in, nobody knew what it was. I did because when I bought the paperback to read just in science fiction in general, and they hadn't decided if Luke was going to be a man or a woman. The cover had an androgynous figure before the movie came out, and I went and saw it. You just walked in. Well, by that it was a Friday morning. By Saturday night, the lines are around the block.
Yeah.
There's just word of mouth back then.
Some of the best restaurants, at least in the 70s and the 80s, are in Westwood.
Oh, yeah.
There's a great Mexican restaurant in Westwood. Have you ever been to Mario's, that Italian joint?
I know where that is. Mario's,
right there on the corner. Right there.
I went there and I went for pizza to Numero Uno's.
Yep. And there's a great falafel place right across from the Baskin Robbins. You know where the Baskin Robbins is?
Was that Falafel King?
I'm not sure the name, but
I think it was Falafel King. Yeah, I had a store right around the corner. My store was 10974 LeConte Avenue, right the last east-west street before UCLA.
Was it right by that poster store?
Around the corner. I was you know the Crest that's got the very picturesque tower theater.
Yeah,
I'm on that block on the north east corner.
Okay, I think I know where you're. Kind of near. Kind of near Hamburger Hamlet.
Up the street.
Okay.
Hamburger Hamlet was down the street on the side. That was on north-south side street.
Right. Okay.
But that I was around the corner from that and up from about 2 blocks.
Wow.
Yeah, heart of Westwood.
That's crazy.
Oh, I remember there. You know, people are probably falling asleep, but I remember the Hare Krishnas come up there and they'd be dancing right there. And you know, back then, and there was a bookstore in every corner. You know, back when people read.
Yeah.
And it was had a very cool college vibe back then. And then became the movie capital and was a big deal.
And there was a really good Hungry Hunter. Was it Hungry Hunter? It was right there.
Hungry Hunter? No, it wasn't Hungry.
No, maybe it wasn't Hungry Hunter. It was something.
It was Hungry Hunter back then.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But anyway.
Anyways.
So what do you think of? Did you see Pete Hegseth testify today at all? Watch any of that?
I watched chunks of it.
Yeah, did you really?
You know, my attitude's changed a little bit, only in the sense of we can't back away. We have to take Cargill Island. The problem is, and there's been analysis I've been reading. The problem is now, unless we take out all the coastal stuff, which is now what we're doing, the troops can get to Cargill Island. We know we can take it. The problem is it'll be a target. And we already know it's been brooded about and not openly stated. China and Russia are giving them specific targeting coordinates, which is why they're starting to hit our people. And until we treat that as a direct threat with sanctions on those countries or some kind of pushback, Cargill Island is obviously, the Iranians know where it is. So they're just going to send over drones and stuff that we haven't taken out. So we have to completely eliminate their capability of doing that, which we've greatly diminished.
Right.
And then I agree. I think we have to take Cargill Island. I don't think there's a choice at this point.
So you're talking about boots on the ground?
On Cargill Island only.
Yeah.
People don't realize how big Iran is. There's 90 million people there. It's a huge country. There's absolutely no chance we can take it. They would love for us to come in there. It would make Iraq and Afghanistan look like a picnic.
Yeah, it's bigger than Texas.
Yeah, it's huge. And so we can't do that. However, we don't have to. You know, he's doing the right things. He's cutting off the infrastructure in the area, the bridges and power plants that feed the petrochemical complexes and all the systems in the area, communication towers, things like that are now being taken out. I think the problem we had was there are so many factions within the Iranian government. The politicians may honestly want to cut a deal, and every time they do, the IRGC, who are incredibly fanatical, will undercut it just by sending over a couple drones.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening. So there is a deal possible. I'm sure there are factions that want to do so. In fact, we've now heard that the president of Iran has left the country.
Really?
So the credible report is he's left the country. Either he's afraid of being an Israeli hit target or the factions within for his own safety. We don't know. But that's already been reported on 2 different news stations. And the reality of it is they're splintered. We've taken out all their leadership, and the void's been filled by even worse fanatics.
Yeah. What about the report that the Israelis are saying that the nuclear centrifuge was moved to Pickaxe Mountain?
That's a rumor. Yeah, they think they're there, and we can bury it so far underground and just stop them from trying to dig it up because we have satellite surveillance.
Right.
We see activity, we just bomb them. But we're going to be there for a while. And to put it in perspective, people don't realize, because I think how quickly we forget. We were in the quagmire in Afghanistan and Iraq for 19 years.
Yeah.
An entire generation of youth were there, and not a peep compared to what it is now. And for no gains whatsoever, $1 trillion lost, thousands of U.S. lives, tens of thousands of wounded, and for no appreciable gain. And we're a country that we're not a direct threat to us. So this one is a credible threat. So we've been there for some months now. I think we're going to be there for at minimum 6 months, maybe even a year. And if the election goes south in the midterms, so be it. I think we have no choice now. We can't withdraw. They'll just rebuild their capabilities. Now the Houthis are involved. And obviously they're openly reporting Iran is ordering them to do so. It's not like it's a secret that they're proxies. The news reports are saying the Iranians have ordered them to close the straits to Saudi Arabia. And Biden stopped the Saudis from taking out the Houthis. God knows why.
Yeah.
So we just unleashed the Saudis. They're your problem because they're on your country. Let's go ahead and do what you started to do.
Why is the president
very disappointing, very discouraging?
Why is the president saying that we've bombed them 25 years into the past? It would take them 25 years to get back up on their feet.
Well, I think it will, as far as their military capability, but to build drones is a relatively low-tech option. We can, look this way: you can buy a drone off the internet for $50.
Right. So what's the goal?
Whose goal?
Our goal.
Our goal now, I think, is changing. I think that now openly they're starting to discuss regime change, which I think is a big mistake, because you'd literally have to kill every fanatic in Iran. But I think what they started to do to the Kurds sabotaged it was we're going to have to arm the civilian populace and hope the civil war breaks out, because then it just turns them into Syria, and we're kind of a sideline at that point. Their own internal polls, I don't know if you read the internal polls, the Iranian government did, that 90% of their population on their own internal polls want regime change.
Well, of course, they saw the slaughtering. They saw the slaughtering of their own people. I thought we tried that, and the Kurds stepped in.
We did. We just now know we can't trust the Kurds.
Yeah.
There's other avenues to get them in through there. It doesn't have. We just tried through the Kurds. We thought that was an easy access, and obviously it was a mistake.
To sufficiently arm the population to take on the IRGC?
Just enough to cause civil war. Oof. Anything heavy we take out. I mean, they don't have a air force anymore. They don't have really anything else about it. It's going to be small arms and civil combat in the cities.
But doesn't that mean boots on the ground, American boots on the ground?
Hopefully not. I don't think so. We arm the civilian population. Again, 90 million people. You don't have to have all 90 million armed. You just have enough armed that they can isolate the IRGC.
So I'm crazy to believe that it's either boots on the ground or we cut and run.
We can't cut and run, because more back we started. If we cut and run and allow the oil revenue to flow, the first thing they're going to do is China's going to rearm them. Russia's going to rearm them. China's going to give them the stuff we managed to interrupt, which was the hypersonic anti-ship missiles, which means we couldn't even stop them like we did this time in the Gulf. We can't, because they'll just rearm. They don't care about the civilian population. That revenue will go straight to rearming. We can't cut and run. Go ahead.
Stay on topic, but change topic at the same time. Then why are we so cozy with China? The president just gave a national speech where he claimed that China influenced our election, and yet he's still buddy-buddy with Xi. Why is that?
I don't understand that at all. I really don't, because I would treat them as a hostile force at this point. I would give sanctions on them. I would not take away they have most favored nation status still in trading. I would take that away. I would say, look, you've got intellectual property. Is there any products coming from China that we show that have been manufactured using stolen technology? We're not going to let in. I would keep the tariffs in place. I'd fight fire for fire with them on a diplomatic front. Everywhere they try to influence, like the Panama Canal or Africa, we would need to go counterbalance, which we haven't been doing. I would treat them as and we are openly talking about a war with China. That's the whole reason we're rearming. They're the threat over Taiwan and everything else.
Yeah.
Let's take it seriously.
I am very, very, very afraid of Taiwan.
Yeah. Well, we have essentially obligations with Taiwan. I think that's a real shooting war to worry about.
Exactly.
That will be a nuclear option we don't want to exercise.
And I'm shocked that Xi isn't taking the opportunity, because wouldn't this be the best time for him to invade?
Well, yeah, because our munitions are so depleted.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they may have other They may look at, they have a multi-generational, long-term plans that we don't even think. We look at 2 and 4 year cycles, election cycles. They think in 20, 40, 100-year cycles. They think very differently. Their culture is set up that way.
Yeah.
And we just don't grasp that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And the Iranians are the same. They're looking at the long goal. They think all they have to do to win, all the Iranians have to do to win is just survive.
Exactly. That's how we won the revolution.
Right. Yeah, we just had to outwait the British. We did the same thing.
Yep.
And that's unfortunate. But what we can do is we can at least eliminate the proxies. They deal with Israel and Lebanon. The Lebanese army has reoccupied 2 of the villages. The Israelis withdrawn. They were actually supposedly setting up this demarcation zone. So if we can emasculate Hezbollah, if Saudis could take out the Houthis, and Hamas has been pretty much muzzled, the Israelis are still actively killing Hamas guys because they violated the second phase of the ceasefire with Israel.
Right.
So the only reason the Israelis aren't going into, they don't have to now. They're just killing the individual leaders one by one. That makes news every time they do.
Is the Senate?
I think everything's going fairly well for us. It's just that we can't be on a time frame because that's what the Iranians want to hear. They want to know a date that they can wait us out to, so we can't give them one.
Is the Senate going to appropriate $87 billion more dollars?
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. Okay.
They have to. They have no choice. We got to replenish. We got to rearm. They know the stocks are down.
True that.
And also they're tying the SAVE Act into the reconciliation for that. So that'll be interesting. That's the interesting part to watch.
Can America stomach American boys and girls coming home in body bags?
We did for 19 years. How many thousands came back? Thousands. Not a couple, not 2, not 4, not 20, thousands.
I think that's
you see the ads for Wounded Warrior and the Twin Tower, the Tower Tunnels things, and all these horribly crippled young men that bravely served their country and have paid if not the ultimate price, that are maimed for life, and not a peep from the general public.
And that's the thesis for why I believe we don't have the stomach to do it again.
I hope it doesn't come to that. Karg Island is a different thing. We're looking at 3,500 Marines and an expeditionary force on a small island we've eliminated all the military from. We're not talking land invasion. We're talking something that obviously the Iranians can't hold or keep. All they can do is basically send over drones, which we can intercept, and missiles, which we can intercept. But the problem we've got is the thing that they're already openly talking about is the targeting stuff that's being given by China and Russia. We need to react to that and stop it.
Yeah.
And just tell them, we're going to treat you as a secondary enemy if you do so.
They asked him about China and Russia's involvement, and he played it off this morning with the Lebanese president as if it's not that big a deal.
The failing that I have, as I mentioned before, is he is so consumed with the art of the deal and dealing with personalities, individual personalities like Xi, he thinks he can do business with. It almost sounds like Chamberlain saying, I can do business with Hitler.
Yeah, he doesn't see the big
picture. That's a big negative to me because you can't.
I agree.
Because they'll smile and bow to you, and meanwhile they're feeding target coordinates to the Iranians.
Yeah, and buying our soybeans.
And poisoning us, by the way, with fentanyl the whole time.
Exactly. And TikTok to our kids while their kids don't. Yeah.
And Gutter is funding all the anti college stuff.
Yeah.
We need to just wake up and go, look, everybody doesn't want to be our buddy. Everybody doesn't want to be America. I know you want to have the art of the deal. Sometimes you just can't make the deal.
Yeah.
We deal with it.
I agree, 100%. Always good to talk to you, Howard. Say hi to Mary. Have a good weekend.
All right, sir. You too.
Wrap to you next week. Howard Marcus. Quick timeout. Not a lot of time before we get to the bottom of the hour. We just might continue the Nick Ragone run. He's got some news on Charlie Woods. We might call him at the bottom of the hour. Don't go anywhere.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Dr. Roland Rodriguez.
Hello, this is Bakersfield General Surgeon, Dr. Roland Rodriguez, client and friend of Mr. Paul Sheldon. It is my great pleasure and privilege to relate to all of you my absolute exemplary experience with Team Paul Sheldon. I have also referred a number of my colleagues to Paul Sheldon's office, only to receive the most stellar feedback from my doctor friends regarding the office's expert navigation through the complex maze that is Medicare. And even though Paul Sheldon himself is now facing some temporary health challenges, his longstanding and most experienced and expertly trained team of ladies, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn, continue to masterfully guide the clients through the complicated world of Medicare. You most definitely could not possibly do any better than to reach out to Paul Sheldon several months before turning 65. Thank you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398 2298.
The tutoring session from Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne continue. They are the owners of Adaptive Networks that provide all of our IT services. And why did we turn to the folks right across the street from us? Because of their customer service, their reliability, and their flat-out competence. We had been struggling with our IT for years. If you're a business owner, you should be listening to these segments that we do on Wednesdays with Van Alstyne's, because one of the segments focuses on what you should be looking for and some of the red flags that you should be seeing as well when dealing with your IT. If you've got an IT company that's coming out time after time after time and just going over the same problems over and over again, then I suggest you pick up the phone and call the folks at Adaptive Networks today. 661-241-0638. That's 661-241-0638. Join American General Media in teaming up with the best IT team in Kern County, and that's the good folks at Adaptive Networks. Again, their number is 661-241-0638, or hit them online at adaptive-net.com.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to The Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
People say this town don't look good in snow. You don't care, I know.
Headed into the back half of the hour, and just for a minute, just for a quick second, we're going to head to Philadelphia, talk with our golf correspondent, Mr. Nick Ragone. Charlie Woods made some news today. We'll find out whether he made the cut for the USGA or not. And then the U.S. Amateur is coming up. He's going to qualify for that in Philadelphia as well. So get used to listening to Mr. Nick Ragone. We'll call him right after these important words. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230, and we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. War Secretary Pete Hegseth said the U.S. war against Iran has cost $37.5 billion so far. Hegseth faced fiery questions and protests over the U.S. war against Iran at a Senate hearing Tuesday. Hegseth and other officials appeared as Republicans push a $95 billion budget package to fund the military, along with aid to farmers and voting law changes that are top White House priorities. President Trump has pledged significant support for Lebanon during a White House meeting with Lebanese leader Joseph Aoun. The meeting on Tuesday aimed to promote long-term peace after months of conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 385 points. The Nasdaq rose 329. The S&P advanced 65. More details at srnnews.com.
Meet Lee Platz, a renter whose possessions fill
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. The national average for gas is now above $4 again, and correspondingly, the average price for gas in California has gone up more than a dime in just a day and has now hit $5.50 per gallon. Back on August 24th, 2024, 34-year-old Xavier Campa Lopez was found laying on East Perkins Avenue in McFarland, shot several times. It took police a couple of months, but they finally arrested Michael Mendez of Delano on 5 charges, including murder. Now the court has decided Lopez will finally stand trial for the murder August 17th. Prosecutors say he was also a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, and that's another one of the charges he faces at trial. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
We wouldn't be celebrating America 250 if it wasn't for a strong foundation set by the framers. Hamilton built America's financial foundation on sound money, later embodied by the gold standard. But we abandoned that discipline in 1971 and have seen inflation erode the dollar's value. What's the foundation of your savings? Is it gold or something that can be devalued? Hi, it's Dr. Ron Paul, and I encourage you to speak with my friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Text SECURE to 989898.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we will talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. John Cox from the Californian will join us with the news quiz. We got state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
We won't keep him long, and he has set a record for the most consecutive appearances on the Ralph Bailey Show, 4 consecutive days. But our Philadelphia correspondent, Nick Ragone, has news on 17-year-old Charlie Woods. What's really going on?
By the way, is that really a record? They should just call this the Ralph Bailey and Nick Ragone Show.
No kidding. Ralph and Nick at 3.
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be the worst idea ever. So I spoke prematurely. Charlie did. First of all, Charlie Woods started off yesterday playing the USGA Junior Amateur at Saucon Valley, about an hour from where I live. He starts off bogey triple. He's 4 over after 2, and I was like, no way he's making match play. He hasn't made it the last 2 years. He settled his round down yesterday, shot 5 over, respectable, was, out of the cut line, but respectable. Today he was 2 under through 13 and well on the cut line. Bogeyed a couple holes and then parred out the last 3 holes. It looks like he's going to be in a playoff to get into match play. So it depending on how the rest of it shakes out. But he had to par 3 really tough holes down the end to get into what looks like maybe a playoff. But
and I've got latest news that he did qualify. It says Woods shot a 3 under 68 with birdies on holes 16 through 18, then edged 2 other golfers in a playoff to qualify.
That is not this year. That is not current.
Oh, you're right. It says June 1st, 2026.
Yeah. That was to get into the qualifier. That was to get into the USGAs. Anyway, so he's going to be in a playoff tomorrow morning to get into match play, which again would be a huge deal. He hasn't made it the last 2 years, and he got off to a horrendous start. And the reason why I was excited because he had a par 3 really tough holes to get into it, and he did. And now it looks like he's getting into a playoff. And look, he's still a rising senior. He's not even a senior yet in high school.
Yeah.
I've been impressed. Like he's very inconsistent. He obviously has a lot of burden being Tiger's son. It can't be easy, but he's handling it well.
Yeah.
And I'll be curious to see if he makes it in. But either way, a gutsy performance. I'd written him off yesterday after 2 holes.
So what is the format? Is it a match play format or is it a score that he's got to post? How does the playoff work?
The playoff, it's a sudden death. So it looks like it could be like 15-guy playoff for 3 spots, a 15 for 3 they call it, or something like that. So it'll be basically it'll be an elimination. So like let's say they play the first hole and there's 2 birdies and 10 pars and a couple bogeys. The birdies go on, and then the remaining guys play for the last spot. So it's a sudden death. So you got to go out and make birdies, basically, especially if it's a 15 for 3. You got to imagine of 15 guys, more than 2 are going to make a birdie. So
absolutely.
You got to go out and make a birdie. And, because I was thinking if he does make a match play, Tiger probably will fly up to Saucon Valley to watch him because he usually watches all of his events. And that's a big deal to get into the match play.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, that's good news. That's
Yeah, it is. It was a gutsy performance. Like, I was watching it online, and he was 2 under at one point after 13. I'm thinking, all right, he's well on the cut line, and made I've played Saucon Valley a bunch of times. It's a really, really tough course, and they set it up like it's held the Senior Open there. Padraig Harrington won the Senior Open there. Hale Irwin has, and then to par those last 3 holes, which I've played before, they're really, really tough holes. When you have no margin for error, I'm rooting for Charlie. I think he has a lot of pressure under him. And not surprisingly, the number 1 junior in the world, Miles Russell, was the medalist. He made the cut at the U.S. Open. I think he's the 7th ranked amateur in the world. He's going to Florida State with Charlie Woods, so they're both committed to that. He was the medalist, so it should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, that does sound exciting. It's not going to be televised. So where'd you stream it?
I streamed it on the USGA app, just the scoring. It didn't have, but I do think ESPN. I think ESPN televised. I mean, I think it will be on either Golf Channel or ESPN. The match play is. I mean, the USGA. Look, anytime you win a USGA championship, whether it's a boys title, amateur title, mid-amateur title, U.S. Open, Senior Open. I mean, there's only one USGA. There's only one national championship. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so, it goes to show Tiger won 3 junior amateurs and then 3 U.S. amateurs.
Yeah, that's
which
incredible.
Is insane. It's insane. He won 6 plus 2 Opens. So I think he holds the record with Bobby Jones for most USGA titles. So if Tiger could win a Senior Open at some point, he'll break the record.
And the manner in which Tiger won a lot of those amateur championships
come from behind
was just phenomenal. I remember watching those, every last one of them. And what was the kid that he was buddies with that he came back and beat on the back nine?
Steve Scott. Well, yeah, Trip Caney. He beat at Sawgrass.
Yeah.
Came from behind. Then he beat Buddy Marucci in Newport. And then at Pumpkin Ridge, he had that famous duel with Steve Scott. And he was down late. And then I think he won in a playoff. And
almost put it in the water on 17 and then made the birdie.
Makes birdie and then pars 18. And, look, there's no Tiger's got to be, the greatest match play player of all time. I mean, to win 3 consecutive junior titles and 3 consecutive amateur titles.
That's crazy.
Nobody's ever done that. Jack, people forget Jack won the U.S. Amateur in 1959 and then again in 61. He lost in 60 to Dean Beeman, the future commissioner of the PGA Tour. But he lost to Dean Beeman. But he almost won the U.S. Open in 60. So he wins the amateur in 59. He came in second at the U.S. Open to Arnold Palmer at Cherry Hill in 60, and then in 61 wins the amateur again. We talk about an amazing run too.
Yeah, I forget what a great athlete Jack was. Just
great
overall,
athlete.
He really was. People don't realize he was a great basketball player, great baseball player.
Yep,
could have played basketball at Ohio State.
Yeah, I think he wanted to, and I think he didn't. But here's the stat of the day. I'll leave you this.
Okay.
There was 40 majors in the 1970s. So in the decade, there were 40 majors played.
Yeah.
Jack topped 10 in 35 of them.
Wow. That's dominance. Absolute
dominance.
Yeah, it really is.
Dominance.
Really is.
Even Tiger hasn't even come close to that.
No.
Nobody's come close to that.
Nobody ever will
touch that.
No. All right.
For a whole decade.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, sir. We appreciate you chiming in and setting the record. Pop. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
All right, man. Take care. Nick Ragone. That's pretty exciting. And I'm buying my ticket tonight. Doing it.
That's what you were going to do yesterday.
I was, but I had to talk to him and get the dates and figure out what day, and then I had to figure out whether I'm going to go Airbnb or hotel. I think I'm going to go hotel because I don't think I'm going to stay. I think I'm only going to stay 4 days. I'm going to fly in on Sunday. We play Monday, Tuesday, and then I'll fly out on Wednesday, or maybe hang out Wednesday and fly out Thursday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's 4 nights. Yeah, that's my plan. We shall see what we shall see. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So let me just read to you guys what State Senator, soon to be former State Senator Shannon Grove, chimed in on the Zach Scrivener situation. As most of you are well aware, she is trying to get SB 1373 over the goal line to amend the manner in which mental diversion is doled out, or in this situation, well, I won't give any editorial comment on it, but this is what the senator wrote. A state appeals court has denied a petition to overturn Zach Scrivener's granted mental health diversion. This is shameful and outrageous. This is the type of blatant injustice that makes you question the justice system altogether. Victims, especially children, deserve real accountability, not a get-out-of-jail-free card that sweeps serious crimes under the rug. I stand with Christina Scrivener, her children, and every victim who has been let down by the misuse of mental health diversion. This is exactly why we are fighting hard for SB 1373 to move forward. We must fix this broken system, close dangerous loopholes, restore justice for victims, and ensure our courts prioritize public safety over leniency for the worst offenders. That is very well written and pretty much sums it up. And let's just hope that it doesn't come down to our DA, because, of course, she'll cut a deal and the person will be out in 2 to 3 years. So that is the state of our state. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So, well, I don't have time. Let's take a break, and I will get into the situation out in the Northeast. The Scarlet and Gray Club, better known as, pretty better. I think it's safe to say better known as Rio Bravo Country Club, where Randy Giamara and I think Randy shot an 80, I shot an 84, and we won the John Hatton Non-Memorial Golf Tournament about 8 or 9 years ago. Actually, it was 13 years ago, because I started in March, and the tournament was in March, and I had to go to Tony Snyder, our then general manager, and say, I know I just started, but I play in this golf tournament every Friday during the Masters. So it must have been April. So it was March. So it was the first month I was here. And Tony, who was a wonderful general manager, I love me some Tony Snyder. She was a woman, Toni. She allowed me to play it. Like I said, I shot an 84, and Randy Giamara shot an 80, won a little money. Man, those are the parties. John Hatton. If John Hatton doesn't know how to do anything, he certainly knows how to throw a party. You want to hear a John Hatton party? So we go play. It's about 12, 16 guys. We all throw in some money, and the winner, the first two guys, it was a two-man best score, so each score counts. And it was me and Randy Giamara. I call him Gavin Newsom. He looks just like Gavin Newsom. It's just horrible. Although, Newsom's a good-looking dude, and so is Randy. Anyway, so we play in the morning, and while we're playing, Mr. Hatton is recording the Masters. We get done around noon, 1 o'clock. We go back to Hatton's house, where the whole patio is spread with nothing but sushi and high-end tequila and margaritas for everybody. And then we watch what we missed on the Masters. We smoke cigars. We hang out. Then at 5 o'clock, Hatton invites all the wives and the girlfriends, and a taco truck pulls up into his driveway. And the kids and everybody eat tacos, and so much fun. So much fun. Quick time out. Coming right back. It's TRBS on a Tuesday, right here on Newstalk 96.1 AM 1230, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.
Casey? Yeah.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we will talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. John Cox from the Californian will join us with the news quiz. We got state-of-the-art news, traffic, and weather. It's all happening 6 to 9, right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I had the double experience at Casey Steakhouse Friday night. I started in the stockyard next door, met a friend and had a couple of cocktails there, and then went next door to the main restaurant where Bobby and Jimmy are performing Tuesday through Saturday nights, as they were Friday, and had dinner in the main restaurant. And I did not have red meat. I had the chicken, the Ralph Bailey, that chicken breast that I talk about. But again, it's about expanding the menu. And if everyone is not feeling, there was a birthday party going on. That's what I talk about. KC Steakhouse is famous for birthday parties and anniversaries and meetings and large tables of 12. And again, not everybody is feeling the ribeye, which is probably the most popular, the New York, my favorite, along with the filet. And so there are alternatives. Chef Daniel has expanded the menu. I've told you about the lobster mac and cheese, the different fish dishes, the chicken breast, the specials of the day. Where would you rather be than either in the stockyard right next door or the main restaurant, KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsor of the Ralph Bailey Show?
Hey, this is Terry Maxwell. You know, one thing I've never enjoyed is painting. It takes time, patience, and real skill to do it right. That's why when it comes to painting my home or business, I trust the professionals at Howling Painting. Howling Painting is family owned and operated right here in Kern County and has proudly served our community since 1978. They were even voted Best of Bakersfield, Best Painting Company in 2025 and 2026. Whether it's residential or commercial, interior or exterior, Howling Painting delivers top quality work at competitive prices. Their team is dedicated to exceptional service and results that exceed expectations. And they don't consider the job finished until you're completely satisfied. Plus, they're fully licensed and insured, so you can feel confident your property is in the good hands from the start to the finish. Get a free, no obligation consultation today at Howling Painting. That's HALLING.com or call 872-0988. Howling Painting, quality works you can trust.
Are you craving a mouth-watering sandwich just packed with flavor? Then look no further than Caesar's Deli, where they craft some of the best sandwiches in town. Sink your teeth into our signature classic, Caesar's Special, featuring 2 kinds of salami, premium ham, and the irresistible taste of Nona's secret meat sauce. It's a sandwich experience that you won't forget. That's not the only sandwich they offer. No. Satisfy your cravings with a savory smoked turkey sandwich, or indulge yourself with the loaded pastrami, or for the adventurous eater, they offer pickled tongue. And here's the best part. Caesar's Deli has incredible lunch specials that are designed to fill you up without emptying your wallet. Plus, did you know that Caesar's Deli has a full-service deli offering a variety of over 60 meats and cheeses? It's a sandwich lover's paradise, and that's why Caesar's Deli has been a local favorite and proudly serving Bakersfield since 1971. Visit Caesar's Deli today and taste the difference for yourself. Located at the corner of Brimhall and Callaway, behind the beautiful water fountain.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
I feel good. I knew that I would not. So good. So good.
I need some advice for a friend.
Of what kind?
Financial.
Ooh, okay.
What do you do if you lend somebody money and they just refuse to pay you back? Can you take somebody? What's the limit on small claims? I bet I beat you. Hey Siri, what's the limit on small claims court?
I found this on the web.
Let's see, California small claims in California. Small claims.
Maximum amount you could sue for in small claims.
$5,000.
California.
It's $5,000. I know that, right?
Individuals sue for
you can only sue up to
12,500
$12,500 in small claims court, or up to $6,250 if you're a business. What is the minimum? The filing fee for small claims goes between $300 and $100.
I don't think there is one. But I mean, there are certain cases that are just like if you take it to somebody, they're going to look at you and be like, "Really, bruh?"
My friend wants to take this person to small claims court for 250 bones. And he claims just to drag the person into court, just to ruin her day. Not that it's a he or a she necessarily. But my friend was just curious. I was hoping to ask Miss Goldner,
right,
until she reminded me. She must freak out because she told us she was not going to be here. And when she hears because she listens to the station and she hears me, and Theresa Goldner tomorrow. She texted me about 7 o'clock this morning. So I was hoping to ask her, but it's his first reaction was to let it go. That it's worth $250 just to never ever, because it's like, have you ever seen A Bronx Tale? Where the character, what's the boy's name? Colangelo is chasing the boy for $20.
Oh, right.
And
yeah.
Charles Pimentel goes, get over here. He goes, what are you doing? He goes, he owes me $20. He goes, look at it this way. You're paying the guy $20, you'll never see him again. He'll never approach you, he'll never try to talk to you. He'll never even, he's out of your life. Isn't it worth 20 bones? And my friend is close to saying it's worth it, but damn.
$250 is
That's a nice little chunk of change.
It is. That's
a night in Philadelphia for my friend, if he were going to Philadelphia soon.
You are.
I'm about as smart as a gnat.
Yeah.
I really am.
Yeah. But
that was funny. I really didn't mean to do that. That was funny. But I don't know. I guess just let it go. I feel like a mark though. Because I knew who this girl was. I've known her for 25 years. I knew who she was 20 years ago. And I just didn't expect I could easily, I've had a couple of strategies. Like I've considered doing doing businesses do. You know what businesses do, don't you? Just call her every day, twice a day, every single day for the rest of my life. I've thought about doing that. I've thought about going to the house like 3 days a week. She won't answer the door, but so what? She lives right around the corner from me. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know. I should just let it go. I was the nitwit I'm an easy mark. I'm a romantic. I thought this thing was going to get up on its feet. We dated 20 years ago when she was young and I was young. She was in her 20s. I was in my 40s. And she took me like that guy that took my money. Took me like a mark. And it's just, I'm just, and then I was thinking about putting her name out there. But I was like, I don't want to do that. And then I'm in HR. I'm sitting in HR.
I'm petty like that. I'll do that.
I am petty like that. I am too. I am too.
Because I'm a firm believer, if you have the gall to do that to somebody, then that person at least has the right to tell everybody you did it.
Yeah, but I don't know if I want people to know what a mark I am, what an idiot I am.
We all make mistakes,
I just told everybody what an idiot I am. But
I'll make mistakes. And again, I've told this to you before. If I ever give money, especially in those types of terms, I never expect to see it back.
Yeah.
Period. In a discussion. But in this case, I don't blame you.
I didn't think there was. At the time. I didn't think there was a doubt that she would give it back. I just thought it would be impossible because we were seeing each other. At the time, we were kind of seeing each other. And then when I saw the girls' reactions, I took her to Casey's Steakhouse, and the girls were kind of like, took her twice to Casey's Steakhouse, and both times the girls were like, a little judgmental. And then the night that she went heels up at Billy's, she had a Mai Tai and went heels up at Billy's at the bar. I mean, total like, heels to the ceiling at Billy's. That was really nice. There were people in there that I knew too. That was really, really nice. I just thought I'd complain for a little bit because they'll complain and complain and complain and complain and complain. So if there are any women out there that need a sugar daddy, I'm available. I'm a mark. I'm an easy mark, apparently. I'm an easy mark, as they used to say in grifting. What do you got on the board?
I got a couple here that have some recommendations for you.
Oh, for the money? Oh, this ought to be rich. What do you got?
Lisa says you'd be paying more in court fees than you actually would for getting the money back, which is true.
Well, it said $3 to $100, $30 to $100. Just to see her have to drag her sorry ass into court and be able to scowl at her. But how could I prove it? What if she says, I have no idea who that man is? I've never seen him before in my life. How would I prove it? We don't have a receipt. I didn't sign anything. She didn't sign anything. She could say, I have no idea what he's talking about. I went out with this guy a couple of times. I went out with him 20 years ago. He took me to dinner. I went heels up at Bill Lee's one night, and that's all I remember. Know what he's talking about. What else they got?
I've done it before, Ralph. You just write it off. Tell them it was a gift, and without being too crappy about it, just let them know it'll never happen again and never to ask.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's the consensus from my family. Just call her and say, I'll pay $250 so that I never have to see your face or hear your voice again in my life.
I'm sorry, I wouldn't even call her. I wouldn't even go that far. Just never bring it up again. If she ever reaches out, just say, F you, I'm out.
Yeah.
$250 to be able to talk to me again, essentially.
Yeah. Well, there would have to be some juice on it. The only way I would talk with her for $300. I'd have to have some. I'd have to have some vig on top of that. But I'm still interested in what people are saying. What do they got? I think the best advice is to let it go. I shouldn't have even brought it up, but what are you gonna do?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
My dad said never to lend that you can't afford to lose, and that's been my philosophy my whole life. You just bought that person for $250. You never have to worry about it again.
True that. True that. Like I said, that's a night in Philly. I think my hotel room was like $257 a night. It's a night in Philly. Just saying. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Headed into the 5. We still got lots to do. Wait till you hear this Sonny Hostin audio. He's a Harvard grad that teaches fourth grade geometry to young people. I'm a member of The View, and I'm a former federal prosecutor. And then she actually went down to the crime scene. Like, does she understand that her son is going to be mocked for at least a good year? Like, every one of his friends are going to see this video. There's video and audio. Obviously, we'll just play the audio for you. But just what a hypocrite this woman is. Wait till you hear this audio we've got for you. They're cleaning house at ESPN. It is a long list. Randy gave me some other names that they were getting rid of. I mean, they are cleaning house. I'll tell you what the alleged strategy is when we come back. Last hour of the broadcast, I'd stick around if I you.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Keith Peters in Washington. An appeals court reverses a decision that freed a pro-Palestinian Colombia activist.
A federal appeals panel in New York reverses a lower court decision ordering the release of pro-Palestinian activist Mohsen Madawi, a legal permanent resident, opening the door to his re-arrest. Madawi is a student protest organizer who the Trump administration spent more than a year trying to deport. He's been appealing a removal order in immigration court. In their unanimous decision Tuesday, the panel found the federal judge overstepped by intervening before the case moved through immigration courts. The ruling mirrors a separate appellate panel's decision earlier this year against Mahmoud Khalil, a former classmate of Madawi's at Columbia University. Julie Walker, New York.
There's pushback by the Smithsonian to the White House over a report that says its leadership can't be trusted.
The report described Anthea Hartig and other Smithsonian leaders as radical activists.
We unwaveringly attest that it does not fairly or accurately characterize the full body of work at the museum.
Hartig's testimony before a House committee comes after a report released on the 4th of July said the American History Museum doesn't tell history in a way that is inspiring and unifying. The report is part of President Trump's efforts to reshape the stories of America told by cultural institutions controlled or influenced by the federal government. Hartig said the Smithsonian does not take sides in America's political debates. Ed Donahue, Washington.
Tropical storm Bertha is expected to weaken in the Gulf as it chugs closer to the U.S., but forecasters say it still could bring coastal flooding and heavy rain from the Florida Panhandle to Louisiana. On Wall Street, the Dow by 385 points, the Nasdaq rose 329, the S&P advanced 65. More at townhall.com.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
AI leads a rally on Wall Street after yesterday.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
He is now considered competent, and that means he will have to face a judge and jury. I'm Chris Davis. March 3rd, 2024, on Clyde Street in Bakersfield, 66-year-old Harry Eugene Clark Jr. was found dead inside his house, apparently beaten to death. Now the man accused in that crime is set to stand trial on 6 charges, including murder, August 31st. Tyrell Cooper had been considered incompetent, but did some time in a state mental facility and is now once again considered well enough to stand trial. Cooper was back in court Monday and pleaded not guilty. And another person who will also stand trial on a murder charge in Kern County is Michael Mendez of Delano, who is charged with killing 34-year-old Xavier Campo Lopez, whose body was found on East Perkins Avenue in McFarland back on August 24th, 2024. Police say Lopez had been shot several times, and they suspected Mendez, finally arresting him October 1st of 24. He is also facing charges of possession of guns and ammo by a convicted felon. And now convicted of murder and awaiting a possible sentence of 50 years to life when he is sentenced next month is Luis Villachana, who was found guilty of murder in the death of Ruth Cummings. She was killed as she sat in an SUV in a driveway on Olympic Drive, Oildale, August 29th, 2024, as she watched Villachana fighting several people over a motorcycle that he believed had been stolen from him. He pulled a gun and started shootings, and Cummings was the victim. The scouts in the California City area would like to know who or what is responsible for the destruction of Bob Parker's Scout Lodge. The scouts had put a lot of work into the place in recent years, trying to make improvements, but last week the place burned to the ground. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
To the rest well in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want.
Too late. They start shooting in a week.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on a Tuesday, 21st day of July. This is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at KERNradio.com. Keyword Lock, Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. In the meantime, we still got lots to do. Recap our top story. You'll hear from The View's former federal prosecutor, Sunny Hostin, her coming to the aid of her 25-year-old child. 25 years old. I wish I would have tried to call my parents when I was 25 years old for anything. I can't imagine there's no amount of trouble I could possibly be in where I would call my parents when I was 25 years old. No way. There's no way. And I was in some tough spots when I was 25. Chet and I got stopped. We were bank robbery suspects. I've never told that story, I don't think. Where we were coming home, we were coming down La Brea, and 4 cop cars descended on us and got us out of the car and got us laying down on our stomachs with our hands behind our back and ran Chet's tags and ran our licenses and claimed that we had met his car met the description of a bank robbery. I ain't never been so scared in my life. I mean, they had shotguns out. It was that serious. But I just can't imagine calling my parents at 25. I mean, and he called his mom. That is just amazing to me. This is I forgot what the audio is. Is this the audio? Is she on the phone first, Chris? Or is she already at the scene? She's on the phone first. All right, this is so her son Gabriel is a good kid, apparently. He's a Harvard graduate, as you're about to find out, and he teaches geometry to 4th graders. And he's lived a very entitled life, which is fine. I grew up, I don't know about a silver spoon, but I grew up with a spoon in my mouth for a couple of years in my teenage years. So I can't be that critical. But he's a 25-year-old who runs a lot, and he was running along the train tracks. And it's a no trespassing area for obvious reasons. People die every day getting hit by a train somewhere in the country. And he apparently missed the sign. And actually, as we'll find out, the cops did him a solid. But here it is.
It's in my phone if you take off the case.
Tell them your mother is a federal prosecutor.
Yes.
All right, let's stop. Let's start again. I apologize. I should have prefaced this. So they've got the kid in cuffs. This is the kid you hear talking. And then on his phone, on the speaker, you hear Miss Austin say, "Tell him I'm your mother. I'm a federal." That's where we pick it up.
It's in my phone if you take off the case.
Tell them your mother is a federal prosecutor.
Yes.
Hey, Mom, how are you? This is Officer Gomez. Your son's fine.
Officer Gomez,
how are you?
This is
They blacked this out. This is her.
Yes.
Stop it right there. They blocked that out because that's her saying, "I'm Sonny Hostin from The View, and I'm a former federal prosecutor." They blacked that part out for her. That was nice of them.
Yes.
Federal prosecutor.
Okay,
that's my son.
Yep.
He's a Harvard graduate.
Yep.
He's not a criminal. He has no criminal record, no criminal history. Officer, is that really necessary? This is a kid that doesn't do anything. He's a Harvard graduate and a Yale researcher. He teaches geometry to folks.
I understand that.
Why would you put something on his record like that?
No, it's.
Can you give him a warning?
So now this is that. Stop it. So now she's at the scene. Now mommy has come down to the scene. It wasn't enough that she was on the phone. She actually got in her car. So it was obviously somewhere in Manhattan. It wasn't very far from where they live. And she's actually come down to the scene of the crime.
Can you give him a warning?
I cannot at this point. I have to let me see this.
I'm a former federal prosecutor.
Yeah.
He knows. He's a Harvard grad who teaches 4th grade geometry to his kids. This is not a kid who's ever in trouble. It's an innocent mistake.
Was that it? Let me just say, in defense of Ms. Hostin, I understand the want and desire to shield your son. And maybe 16, 17, but a 25-year-old man? Like, I had moved out of the house by the time I was 25, and obviously he lives at the house. I at some point, and I think this is the biggest issue with our children. This isn't just a gossipy story about showing up what an idiot Sonny Hostin is. It's really my thesis about why our kids are going through such mental topsy-turvy twists and turns, and why they're not going to outdo their parents. And I think that corporal punishment is a part of that. You know, whenever I talk about this, I say, I ask parents who do not swat, whoop, whatever, spank, whatever the words you want to use, their kids, they say no. And I always ask them, and to a person, it's 100%. It's 100% consensus. The people that say, no, I don't spank my children, if you ask them, were you spanked? 100% will say, yes, I was. And I'm like, well, you turned out all right. Oh, no, I resented that, and I hated my mother for years. We all hated our parents for a while. My parents would whoop me, and I'd be like, I wish a bus would hit her. I hate her. I hate him. But children have to have that self-discipline. You can't build a child with that net. And at 25, come down to the crime scene for a trespassing incident? Meantime, Ms. Hostin has been on the record about how she feels about law enforcement.
It's in my phone if you take off the case.
Tell them your mother is a
He's a Harvard grad. He teaches fourth
Just play
grade
it
geometry.
again. Just play it all the way
kids.
through.
God bless.
We're going to get to the section where she's being the hypocrite.
It's in my phone if you take off the case.
Tell them your mother is a federal prosecutor.
Yes.
Hey, Mom, how are you? This is Officer Goldner.
Oh, you're a prosecutor? Oh, well, then we'll kick him loose then. From the View.
Yes.
Former federal prosecutor.
Okay,
That's my son.
Yeah.
He's a Harvard graduate.
Yeah.
He's not a criminal. He has no criminal record, no criminal history.
Can you imagine if you played a drinking game? Well, you had to take a shot every time she said federal prosecutor or Harvard?
He teaches geometry to.
You'd be drunk as a skunk.
I understand that.
Why would you put something on his record like that?
No, it's.
Can you give him a warning?
I cannot at this point.
Is he a Harvard graduate?
I'm a former federal prosecutor.
Yeah.
He knows. He's a Harvard grad.
Oh, he's a
He
Harvard
teaches
graduate.
fourth grade geometry to kids.
You'd be drunk as a skunk if you played that game.
Never in trouble. It's an innocent mistake.
But here's her take on the television show. Whole different.
For some reason, that did not save. Give me 1 sec. I'll pull it up.
No? Okay. Well, no, we don't have to pull it up. She basically, they're just a compilation of her saying, nobody's above the law and everybody has to deal with it and blah, 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 blah. And the cops did him a solid. It's supposed to be a misdemeanor. They just cited him. All he's got to do is go back to court at the end of the month, July 31st, my mama's birthday, and appear, probably pay a $125, $150 fine because you can't go places you're not supposed to go. And there's a reason you're not supposed to go there. Because if he gets run over by a train, Sonny Hostin will be the first person to sue New York County. She'd be the first person to sue the police department for not having visible signs of no trespassing. Why would you let my boy go dangerously? Here's the compilation of the hypocrite.
If he is convicted, he will not pardon him. No. Okay, because no one is above the law. And I say that's how this country should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Unless it's my son, who's a Harvard graduate and teaches fourth grade geometry and a Yale researcher. And I'm a former federal prosecutor. Like, do these celebrities really believe that cops are going to be like, what? You're a former federal prosecutor? Well, then kick him loose, Charlie. It's the ultimate, don't you know who I am? I have always wanted to use that once just to see the reaction. That is the absolute single worst thing you can say to anybody. I've always just wanted to say it just to see the cop or whoever it is response. Don't you know who I am? It's like, and 8 times out of 10, the person's like, no, not really. No, I really don't. I don't.
Should I?
Yeah. The View? No, I've never heard of The View. I'm a cop. I'm on the streets at 10 o'clock in the morning. I just thought that was fun to go over. I wish I could when I first started watching it, I really did like her because she's obviously one of the smarter women on the thing. She's a former federal prosecutor. And then once Trump got elected, it just got vicious and ugly and nasty, and everything was about race. You've heard her. She even had the audacity, I have the audio somewhere, I'm not going to pull it up, where she said she feels fearful when she goes into neighborhoods with the American flag. Like, you could really say something that stupid on national television? Really? And you really scratch your head because apparently she's being bombarded with negative text messages and emails that they're throwing into ABC. And you're really confused as to why that you're associating the American flag with racism. Like even racist Ralph isn't that freaking myopic. I'm telling you, this is how I thought I could make it in journalism. Because I would watch television and I would see people who were supposedly so intelligent and so brilliant. And I would just think, these people are stupid. These people aren't even smart. And this woman with body cams, she didn't think that they were going to release this. Did she really think this is a good look for her son, let alone her? You imagine being one of his boys? So is mama going to pay the fine? Did mom take the cuffs off? How did that work out? Mama drive you home? Mama must have driven you home. I'm sure she followed you to the damn jail. I mean, I don't know. Let's go ahead and take a break. And we're off to Connecticut, Bristol to be exact, home of the Entertainment Sports Programming Network. Well, for some. The axe came down today, boy. Wait till you hear the list of people they have let go, including Ryan Clark, who got whacked on air. I think that might be a television first. And I'm not kidding. To actually be let go in the middle of a broadcast. Ryan? Yeah. Could you come over here and take out your IFB and grab a box while you come over here? Okay, I'm in the middle of this thing. Yeah, but just come on. I just don't understand that. And I am not a Ryan Clark fan. You know what got him whacked, don't you?
I think it's him highlighting that Peter Schrager and all these other guys.
I've got the audio.
Yeah.
I've got the audio. I'll play it for you.
He tried to do the same thing to McAfee 5-6 years ago. And
I've got the audio. I've got the audio.
Love that.
I've got the audio.
I remember watching that live. I was like, get on Pat.
Yep. We'll play that when we come back. Both McAfee taking him down and the idiot comment that he made to Peter Sledge. Is it Sledge? Right?
Schrager.
Schrager?
Peter Schrager.
We've got the audio. We'll play that for you when we come back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. Don't go anywhere. Right here on Newstalk 96.1 AM 1230. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KER.
Messmaker.
Till the last mic drop.
If you've got kids right now, what happens every summer? Well, there's no summer jobs available. And so you end up having to spend a lot of money putting your kids into something that is going to keep them active. You can't do what we did when I was growing up. It just doesn't happen anymore. And that's been the death of summer jobs and really changed society in a very negative way.
Weekdays 9 to noon, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
I know if you're over 50, it's kind of difficult to really contemplate and get your arms around the idea of retirement because I think most of us are going to work until we drop. But what you can do while you're building up to the 18th hole of your life is invest with the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. You've heard me say time and time again, about 10 years ago, it was the single smartest financial move that I've ever made in my life, so as not to depend on a 401k in the late fourth quarter or Social Security for that matter. But I've got a chunk of change that's been building for over a decade with my good friend Daniel Petrie. Call in today at 395-9400, 395-9400, or just tune in every Thursday at 4:30 when he appears via the Rogers Brandon Global Telephone Network. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day. No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus installed over 1 million square feet of flooring last year alone. Over 20 years of Bakersfield's best flooring store means you can trust us with your hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and of course, carpet. Come in today to see over 100 waterproof floors from our in-stock inventory. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Your free in-home estimate is waiting for you. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
Parliament, Funkadelic, and all this, and Houdini. I mean, it was just a whole new Houdini, and then Run DMC. That's a little bit later, but early '70s, Funkadelic and George Clinton, and just we had never heard anything like this. Never. It was just like a whole new sound. God, it was so much fun. I love the 20th century. Just going to the warehouse. Man, we would go to the mall. We could go to the mall and spend a day at the mall. We could spend the entire day at the Fox Hills Mall. We'd spend at least an hour at the warehouse looking at albums, not buying a damn thing. Maybe buying something. Pop gave me like $20 because you could buy an album for like $5.99. And then we would go to like the cookie place. We'd always go to the cookie place. It wasn't Mrs. Fields, but it was kind of like Mrs. Fields, or maybe it was Mrs. Fields. And then we go to the Foot Locker, try on a bunch of shoes, maybe go see a movie. I mean, it was just, do kids still do that? Not really.
I wouldn't think so.
Certainly not the Valley Plaza.
No.
Because that's borderline dangerous.
I think they're hoping that this new, what do they call it?
Out here in
Cities
the
of Light?
Northeast? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the name is, but I think they're hoping that reignites it. I don't think it will.
They got to have a Ross and a Whole Foods, and I see a building every time I go out to the Northeast. Every time I go to BCC, it's getting up on its feet. Construction is going pretty fast, actually, because every time I go out there, like maybe every other weekend, and you can see the progress that they're making. You got somebody?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, who? It's Larry.
Favorite.
Larry. What is it now, Larry?
Yeah, I was just listening to you playing your music, and I remember listening to them back in the 70s. I don't know, did you ever hear the rumor about that song Love a Roller Coaster where supposedly there was a gunshot fired in that song?
No, apparently the rumor was, and yes, this was a cultural rumor, that there is, in the song, there's a really high-pitched scream by one of the girls. And the rumor was that the girl got knifed in the studio, and they used that scream in the song. That was the cultural kind of Bigfoot UFO myth when I was growing up. Yeah.
I remember hearing. I thought it was a gunshot, so I didn't know it was a knife.
It could have been a gunshot. My memory, who knows? But yeah, the girl died in the studio, and she was screaming either from a gunshot wound or a knife. and they used it for the scream in that song.
All right, that's all I had.
All right, thanks, Larry. Yeah, that's a true cultural myth that existed in the 70s.
That's up there with if you play a Kiss record backwards, you hear Satan.
There are a couple of Beatles songs that they claim that as well. I had a Beatles freak roommate at Morehouse who said that if you played, he first said he believed that Paul McCartney had been replaced.
Right.
And that was the whole reason for the, what street are they crossing?
Abbey Road.
Abbey Road. That's the whole point, that Paul is out of step.
Yeah.
And that this isn't the real Paul McCartney. You have no idea how many nights we stayed up till 2 a.m. arguing that. And what are some of the other cultural myths? Bigfoot's a big one.
Yep. What's the thing out in New Jersey? Their little winged creature thing. You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
They have something out there too that they talk about.
I was absolutely frightened of Bigfoot. I really was. And I've told the story how my dad walked me off the ledge where he said, Ralph, let's say there's a Bigfoot. Because I saw the movie. I went and saw the documentary. It's where they show you know what I'm talking about? Everybody's seen it, where the big thing turns and looks around.
Yeah.
I said, Dad, I've seen it. I've seen it. It exists. They couldn't lie. Yes, they could. He said, all right, let's say, what state was it, Ralph? I said, I think it was Washington. All right, so let's say this Bigfoot is running around Washington. What are the chances that he makes it all the way to California? And if he makes it all the way to California, what are the chances that he makes it to Los Angeles? And Ralph, let's say he makes it to Los Angeles. He comes walking down Slauson Avenue. What are the chances that he comes to Ladera Heights? And let's say he comes to Ladera Heights, Ralph. What are the chances that he makes a left off Slauson and comes down Bedford Avenue? And if he comes down Bedford Avenue, Ralph, what are the chances that he comes to 6141 Bedford Avenue, as opposed to going to the Townsend's house or the Davis's house next door? What are the chances that he comes to our house? And if he comes to our house, Ralph, don't you think I'm able to take care of him? My father literally lifted his arms, like, don't you think I can take care of him? And I was like, no, not really, Dad. Bigfoot's like 8 feet tall. And he just went, forget it.
It must have been a shot to the heart to your dad, though.
And don't come sleeping at the foot of my bed tonight either. I'm serious, boy. Yeah, the whole debate was just once I said, no, Bigfoot would take you out, Pop.
See, take that though, and imagine what kids are going through today with all these videos of AI and stuff like that. You don't even know what's real anymore.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Last half hour of the broadcast on this Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I'll tell you what's coming up later. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show, News Talk 96.1, AM 1230, streaming live at kernradio.com.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The U.S. military says it has launched an 11th night of strikes on Iran as the two countries vie for control of the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command did not immediately reveal the targets being struck early Wednesday in the latest wave, which comes after President Trump telegraphed that strikes would be intensifying. President Trump has pledged significant support for Lebanon during a White House meeting with Lebanese leader Joseph Aoun. The meeting on Tuesday aimed to promote long-term peace after months of conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. After it concluded, Trump announced that he would allow the resumption of direct flights between the U.S. and Lebanon that had been suspended since 1985. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 385 points. More details at srnnews.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be a
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. Luis Villachana of Oildale could spend at least 50 years in prison for the August 29th, 2024 death of Ruth Cummings. That happened on Olympic Drive in Oildale when Villachana was fighting several people over a motorcycle he believed had been stolen from him. Police say he pulled a gun and started shooting. Cummings was sitting in an SUV in the driveway and was hit by one of the bullets. Sentencing is next month. March 3rd, 2024, on Clyde Street in Bakersfield, 66-year-old Harry Eugene Clark was found dead inside his house, apparently beaten to death. Now the man accused in that crime is set to stand trial on 6 charges, including murder, August 31st. Tyrell Cooper was back in court Monday and pleaded not guilty. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Look, folks, you already know that your garage door is a very important part of your home, from the overall look of the place to the safety and security it provides. So obviously you should only trust the service, repair, and maintenance of your garage door to the pros at King Door Company. Their skill and product knowledge are unmatched in the industry, and that's no accident. The techs at King Door are rigorously trained at the King Door Academy. That's right, King Door has an in-house training facility to make sure your job is done right on the first try. They're trained in all the latest equipment, tools, and techniques. They even learn how to listen to customer concerns through role-playing exercises. And you'll see how well all this training works when they show up right on time in fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and equipment to service or repair any garage door. Like I said, your garage door is a very important part of your home, so leave it to the pros at King Door Company. Schedule your appointment today at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, the company with the pride of a lion.
In Kern County, valley fever affects more than 3,000 people each year. But together, we can change that. Join Kern County Public Health as a valley fever ambassador. You don't need medical experience, just a willingness to help your community stay informed. Neighbors sharing with neighbors. Coworkers looking out for each other. Be part of the solution by signing up for a 30-minute virtual training. Visit KernPublicHealth.com to learn more.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here, host of the First Look with Scott Cox radio program. You are listening to the Ralph Bailey Show right here on News Talk 96.1. Mary Marcus gave the real reason why Howard wants to go see this Minions movie.
Why does Howard want to go see this Minions movie?
She says because he's a big H.P. Lovecraft fan and it has Cthulhu, which is true.
I have absolutely no idea what you just said.
You never heard of the popular horror writer H.P. Lovecraft?
No.
A lot of big monsters from mythical areas. It's legendary in its own sense, but I'm trying to think of a movie maybe that you maybe have seen that be connected.
I'm not a big horror guy.
No.
I don't want to be scared.
See, his aren't necessarily like that kind of scary. It's more of like human mind not being able to comprehend what it's looking at kind of thing. That's what Cthulhu is. Cthulhu is this big like demon octopus monster that lives in a 5th dimension that's supposed to come to Earth and be our essentially death.
Really? Okay. All right. What else you got?
Let's see. The mom trying to help her Harvard grad son
who teaches geometry to 4th graders
is as bad as Trump hooking up his 2 sons as federal contractors building drones, selling them to the military after he started a war.
Well, that's just smart. No, I'm kidding. I suppose. I don't know how you get from Sunny Hostin and her son trespassing to the Trumps making a fortune while in the White House. That was just your attempt to bring down Trump, I suppose. But I guess that's a nice correlation. What else you got?
Ralph, can I borrow $500?
Apparently. Apparently. All you got to do is ask me. I'll give it to you.
Have a good story. That's all it takes.
I'm a mark. Yeah.
Maybe
she had a good story too. And I bet it wasn't true. And do you know,
that's the kind of.
Do you know I picked her up because it was while I didn't have my card.
Yes.
when I was using my wallet, my phone, and you can't withdraw money with your wallet.
No.
So I literally picked her up before I came to work, drove to Chase, went in, withdrew the money, gave it to her, and Ubered her home before I came to work. I should read some of the, you know what? I am going to read some of these text messages.
Oof.
I'm going to read some of these text messages.
Oof.
I really am. I'm not going to name her. I should, but this is how she played me. It began with.
You got to find a good nickname for her. You got to figure out a good nickname.
Yeah.
Like a
what do you
nickname
got?
for
What do you
this.
got?
I know, that's what I'm trying to think here. Listeners, help us out too. I'm gladly taking any suggestions.
It's got to be like an ugly name.
Right.
Like Gertrude.
Oh, you
No,
can
that's
go
not-
that route. I'm thinking like some sort of like Petty Patty kind of
Candy.
thing. Like, just some random weird
Yeah.
thing. Because you don't want to pick a name and then have someone say, well, it's my name. It's like, well, we're not talking about you.
Do you have any intention of giving me my money? Absolutely. I'm sorry I haven't reached out. Things have been complicated. I'm at the grocery store, but you can come pick it up whenever. Then the next day I say, are you home? I will be back tomorrow early. If you need it today, I can have a friend rip it by.
Should have said yes right there.
And then I said, I have to go to LA. I really need that money. Please don't do this to me at the single worst time in my life. It's when my mother's health wasn't good. She said, come in the morning. So then the next morning I said, I'm on the way. I waited. I'm running a quick errand and then I can meet you. Okay. Where are you? I'm in front of your apartment, still at my attorney's. I'm finally leaving. Do you want me to leave it at the front desk? No, come to suite 134. Remember that day I said,
yep,
she's coming. And I kept going to the front door. And she said, I'm finally leaving. Do you want me to leave it at the front desk? No, come to suite 134. Okay, going to order an Uber now. And from 5:15 until 6 o'clock, I'm running back and forth to the front door to look for her. Literally, Chris can verify that.
Yeah, I know this is true.
I'm sorry, my life didn't stop. Grocery bags break. I'll drop it under your mat before you wake up. Oh, and then I told her I'm leaving my mother's house. My nephew's coming to pick me up, blah, blah, blah. I have no idea. Oh, I'm sorry. I have no idea. I'll Uber now. I'm so sorry. Where are you? I'm at his house going. Now listen to this. At his house, going to borrow to Apple Pay from his phone 371. The hell does that mean?
Not a clue.
At his house, going to borrow to Apple Pay from his phone 371.
Now that I'm assuming she meant she's going to someone's house to get the money to borrow from him. I don't know what the 371 is for you.
What the F are you talking about? And that's when the communication stopped. Because I had to leave that night. She knew I was leaving for LA. So she knew she had the weekend. And she hasn't answered any of my calls or texts since. Just a despicable human being. Just an absolute despicable human being. A criminal from a family of criminals. She really is. Her dad was an arch criminal as a young man. Criminal from a family of criminals. So I know what you're saying. Then why did you get mixed up with her? Because she's damn near half my age and got a set of D's and looks pretty damn good naked. You know the truth. That's. I'm a mark. So yes, you can have your $500. Just come by my house and give me a story. I'll give it to you. I'm just stupid. Well, what else you got?
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at some of these names.
What do you got?
Mary Marcus came with a couple good ones.
What do you got, Mary?
First off, she said Karen, but that's low hanging
Oh,
fruit.
Karen. That's too easy though.
That's low hanging
That's too easy. That's too easy.
We got one that says Gladys.
Gladys?
Not Gladys. Gladys.
Gladys?
Yeah, like Gladys. Oh no, well I guess yeah, Gladys.
Okay, what else you got?
Rasputa Lattimore from Northern.
Now that was funny. I like that. We might go with that. Although this is the last time we're talking about this, so I'm going to let it go. I'm going to take everybody's advice. Stella, everybody in the chat room was agreeing. Just let it go.
There is one. Mary did say that there's one in the chat room that you'll probably enjoy. I don't know if
What
you've
a
read it
name!
already, but
Let's go back over here and see, shall we?
Yeah, you have to unwrap yourself a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Let's go back over here and put my glasses
I don't know
on.
exactly. She said this a little while ago, so it may be up a few.
Have you asked her for the money back? Put her on a payment plan if she can afford to pay you back. If not, move on and don't think about it. That's Stella. Mary said, never lend any money without collateral. Howard had some friends at Wanda borrowed some money from him, and he told them, okay, well, you had this and this, that, and he wanted them to put up stupid autocorrect because he knew from their past record they wouldn't pay back. Stella says, what the heck is fourth grade algebra? But what does, it's fourth grade geometry. But what does that have to do with him being cited for trespassing? I have no idea. I saw Cox at a sold-out concert, Crystal Palace, demand free tickets saying, don't you know who I am?
He's actually done that before.
Does he drop the don't you know who I am?
Well, he's that I can confirm he has done once or twice at the Crystal Palace because he knows literally everybody who ran that building.
Yeah.
That's why he dropped it. It wasn't necessarily him throwing his weight around. He knew
Just
the guy he was talking to, and he was using his traditional,
It would be like me going to the Casey Steakhouse with a new waitress
looking at
and saying,
Cassie,
don't you know who I am?
Exactly.
I'm Ralph Bailey, God dog it.
Exactly. It wasn't a, hateful version of it.
Right. Okay. What else you got? Anything else? We got a couple of more minutes before we take our final break of the night.
Let's see. Cindy Solis.
Cindy Solis?
That's another name for her, I guess. But that's an obvious jab at somebody.
It is, but I'm not going to name who it is. Titty woman.
Yeah.
That is the single funniest thing I've ever heard said in public comment. Did you all stare at my titties?
Well, not until you brought it up.
As a matter of fact, she does have a pretty nice rack, though. She really does. But she's nutty as a. They're all just ladies, why are y'all so crazy? That really should be the cue of the day. And you know what? I think it's partly us.
Partly?
You think we drive them crazy?
Oh, I think both sides drive each other crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys drive girls crazy, and girls drive guys crazy.
That's why I'm attracted to women who I say are like men. I'm attracted to women who are like more men-like, but I'm more attracted. I'd rather hang out with women than hang out with a bunch of guys, as crazy as that sounds. And that's not because I'm old. That's always been the case. I have always found, I'm telling you, when I was in 6th grade, I started a trend at Joey Gonzalez Elementary School playing hopscotch. I loved playing hopscotch, because the girls all played hopscotch, and I loved hanging around with the girls. And this is when I was running away from Annette Ortiz, my very first girlfriend. So it wasn't like a sexual thing. I just found the girls more fascinating. The guys that I went to school with in Cerritos were stupid and just numbskulls and just wanted to talk about sports. And the girls like gossiped and they talked about each other and you found out stuff. And I don't know, I just fell in love. Hopscotch is not easy. Have you ever played hopscotch? Yeah. Hopscotch is not easy. It really isn't. And if you play with a lot of people, if you play with like 3 or 4 people, it gets athletic because you can't step. If I remember correctly,
you throw a stone and whichever one it lands in, you can't step.
Oh, stone. Oh, dude. I got into trouble breaking into my mother's jewelry box. We would get like not bracelets, but because they slid better. You would try to get like something that could, oh, dude, I got into it. Oh, you don't understand. I was the most competitive. I was one of those kids. Wanted to win at everything. I was the kid that you never wanted to let be the banker at Monopoly.
Oh,
I was that kid.
Like you. My best friend's like that too.
I was that kid. Slip a little 500 underneath the board.
My best friend does the same thing.
I was that kid.
I look at him every day, and not every day. Every time we play a board game Monopoly, I say, "You're not banker." Hell no.
My friends would have to play Scrabble with a dictionary because I'd be like, "How do you not know
words?
How do you not know Tabusk? You've never heard of the word Tabusk? No, Ralph, you're making that up. Tabusk means to raise. Tabusk. You've never heard that? What are you, stupid? And I get like some of my friends. I could fool. Really? Seriously? You've never heard the word taboos? Dude, you're going to do horribly in the SATs in a couple of years. And finally, my friends were like, no, we're playing with a dictionary with this. I was that guy. And I'm telling you, I would steal, not from my mom, but from my sister, little chains and little things because they slid better. And it is a little bit athletic because you can't, if somebody else's marker is in a number, you can't touch that number, right?
Yeah.
You have to jump,
over
the
it.
number, and that's how I would win. Because the other kids couldn't. I was more athletic and could jump around and could hop around on one leg. I can still hold up. I do that like every night. You know that? I see if I can stand up, because that's when I know I'm old. When I can't stand up on one leg for at least a good period of time. And that's what you got to do to play hopscotch. You got to be able to do this. If you can't do this as an old person, this is the test. Can I do it on the gouty ankle? No, I cannot. No, I cannot.
Say, don't try that.
Yeah, let's don't even go there. Because I got to play golf Saturday. But I do know I love playing hopscotch. You know what else I love playing? There were three things that kind of were effeminate that I loved to play, and I didn't give a damn. I love playing Foursquare. Love playing Foursquare.
Foursquare is effeminate?
Was it? It was at my school, it kind of was, because it's kind of what the girls played. Yeah, the guys always played like football and I'm over on the cement. I did too. And tetherball. I love me some tetherball.
I was never good at tetherball.
No, I wasn't either. I would always play the girls, and the volleyball players would beat me.
All my friends had to do is hit it so fast that I was too afraid to put my hand out there.
Well, did you play ropesies?
By like grabbing the rope?
Where you could put your arm in the rope?
No.
Yeah,
we wouldn't let that
we had
happen.
different rules. And if you played with the rope, it was easy.
Yeah.
It was just, you would just have rope burns on your damn forearm. But if not, if you just playing the ball, once they get that thing going, forget about it. Forget about it. Yeah, I was horrible at thing. I love talking about my youth. I would not change my childhood from like even New York. Well, New York was horrible. I'm lying. New York was horrible. I had to go to a daycare center in New York, and a woman would beat me because I would always stay after school for the relay races, and I'd come home late, and then I would break the rules. Shock, because you had to stay in the basement, and I would always go upstairs and get on the phone and try to. My mother was an operator. I would try to call her. It was that in New York. My childhood in New York. I don't remember much of it, and I had to get me they had to get me a nightlight, because I remember Christopher Columbus Academy. I saw The Thing, the original with James Arness, not the one with Kurt Russell. They made a remake with Kurt Russell. This is the original, shot in the 50s, and I saw it. I must have been 5. So what is that? 67, and it scared the crap out of me. Scared the living crap out of me, and my father literally had to buy me a nightlight for me to go to sleep. So funny. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Jackie Askew is going to join us. Jackie is going to talk about, please stand by, Community First Village. She is trying to get up a recovery village for addicts in our community. The folks from Bakersfield College will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. I have no idea who is joining us. Trying to work on that. Get a little advance notice. And whatever else happens between now and 3:05 mañana. I'm feeling juicy burger. I'm feeling chili burger with salt, French fries with no salt.
Is that good for the gout?
Red meat doesn't really bug me. It really doesn't. I'm telling you, it was the raspberry tea.
I was about to say, just stay away from the raspberry tea.
It was the raspberry tea. There's no question about it. I drank that thing in 3 gulps. It was literally, the cup was as big as this 50-ounce thing. And I knocked it off in 3 gulps. That's what it was. Because one of the first things when you look up drinks not to drink, they say sugary drinks, particularly iced tea, is like the first thing in the thing that I looked up. I've been suffering with this for 20 years, and I still don't know what hurts me. Crazy. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. I've told you who's coming up tomorrow, so leave us go. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. K.
Whenever you're ready.
Three, two. Look, the bottom line is I'm just not a fan of Sonny Hostin. Ever since Donald Trump's got into office, it's all about race. And I understand a mom wanting to protect her son, but going to the crime scene for a 25-year-old who's just getting a trespassing citation, I wish I would have called my parents when I was 25 years old. Hello, Dad, I'm with the police. Hello? Hello? Is that too long? What'd I say? Jackie Askew. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. It's a Wednesday, so the folks from Bakersfield College will join us. Plus, Jackie Askew trying to get up a home for addicts in our community. All that plus me at 3. It's TRBS right here on News Talk 96.1 AM 1230. I'll see you at 3.
My friends at Birch Gold Group about diversifying an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. Learn more by requesting a free info kit on gold IRAs. Just text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Let Birch Gold help you build your foundation with gold. Text the word SECURE to the number 989898. Text SECURE to 989898.
Is the volatility of the stock market driving you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older and you're starting to worry about, will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into gold and silver. Want to know how to do it? Listen to my show, Striking Gold, with me, Kenny Michaels.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Stella says, many of us like your reminiscing topics better too versus Trump, Iran, etc. Sorry, but they are just happier topics that make me smile. I have the same memories. Yeah, you're right. I would rather, I've always wanted to do that kind of show. I really have. I don't know why I don't take advantage of the fact that I've kind of got carte blanche now that part of our management team is no longer with us. I've always wanted to do kind of a Don and Mike show. You guys remember Don and Mike, where they just did just an absolute ad-lib show and just talked about their lives and what's going on with their lives and reminiscing about telling old stories. That's really the kind of show I've always wanted to do. And you're right. I think there's no question that is the glue that keeps my audience together. Because I think if it was strictly just a political show, I'd be screwed. Because I'm aware that most of my audience disagrees with my political views, that I'm too critical of the president, et cetera, et cetera. But I just think in these times, it's hard for me to do a show and not talk about the war. I just don't know how you can do a radio show that's about information and not do something about the war. I mean, we have enough stuff going on here that we can still sprinkle in some local stuff. But I mean, She's right, though. We need to be, and that's one of the changes that we're trying to do is move away from politics and be more upbeat. But we got to get through these damn midterms. Let's read a couple of text messages, and then I'm going to have a juicy burger and crinkle fries with no salt. That's what I like about juicy burger. They have a note. Like, not all the Uber Eat places have notes. You know what I'm saying? Where you can say, hey, I don't want this, I don't want that. But Juicy Burger does. Has a little note. You can say, no salt on those crinkle fries, please. What do you got?
Ralph, do you think this is real, or are the feds just jealous of the Dodgers because they are investigating Mark Walters?
I was unaware of that. I'm pretty sure Mr. Walters is on the up and up. I don't know why they would be investigating him. I don't know on what level. I don't know if that's taxes or business dealings, but it would be devastating if he ended up being a crook. That's for damn sure. That is for damn sure. He's involved with the Lakers. He's involved with the Dodgers. He's involved with Magic's soccer team. He is. That would be devastating if he ends up being.
He's an owner of a whole professional. Oh God, what is it? I want to say volleyball or hockey league.
Yeah,
one of the
sure.
two.
Yeah, it would be devastating if he ends up being a crook.
He's huge in the sports area right now.
Absolutely. What else?
Mario has chimed in.
Mario!
Hey, Ralph, I think that the Iran war emphasizes everything wrong with Trump. He says whatever he is thinking and thinks that he can bend Iran to his ideals. That MO works in our political climate, but not with Iran.
Yeah, you know what I think what was devastating was Venezuela. I think Venezuela was so easy that he thought that that was typical of the might of the United States and that any conflict in the future would go that easily. And I think that he didn't have the guardrails that he had in the first administration. I don't think that he has the people in the cabinet that will tell him no, or this is a bad idea, Mr. President. I think he's got a lot of people who just say, you're right, Mr. President. Yep, we can get that done. I'll get it done, Mr. President. And that's no way to run a cabinet. That's no way to run an administration. Want to thank our good friend, Howard Marcus, and our record breaker, Nick Ragone, for appearing on the broadcast 5 days in a row. It started on Wednesday, and I promise you he will not be with us tomorrow. However, the folks from Bakersfield College will be, and Jackie Eskew will join us as well. But in the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Have a wonderful night, and I will rap to you tomorrow.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Republicans are pushing a $95 billion budget package that includes funding for the military.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth faced questions and protests at a Senate committee hearing. Hegseth says the cost to fight the war in Iran has gone up.
The estimate we have as of today is $37.5 billion.
Hegseth says without more funding, the military faces critical shortfalls. Washington Democrat Patty Murray says the Strait of Hormuz is closed, and President Trump had mentioned several times a deal is near and the war would be over.
This war is now spiraling out of control again. The president is threatening escalation and suggesting this could be another forever war.
The White House issued a statement urging support of the budget resolution without modification immediately. Ed Donahue.